is the 2007 All-Star Game on ESPN Radio.
And the Baseball Tonight pregame show continues down on the field at AT&T Park. The crowd continues to file in. Jody Ambrosio, John Rooney, and our baseball insider, Peter Pasquarelli. And Peter, almost a change in the American League batting order because of an injury to one of Jim Leyland's own players.
Yeah, Placido Polanco's had a bad back over the last couple of days. He's only going to get one at bat, and Jim was thinking about putting Polanco in the second hole and dropping Jeter somewhere else in the lineup just so he could get him out of the game quickly. He decided against it because he said, you know, it's really not fair to Jeter to just sort of move him around the order like he's just some other guy when he's really one of the premier players. So he'll get the at-bat from Polanco in the first inning and maybe play him in the field. Hopefully he gets through him in a couple of innings, you know, to his first at-bat and then get him out of the game because his back is still not right.
Mark Burley signs the big deal over the weekend with the White Sox. There's stories that Ichiro was close to signing with the close to re-signing with the Mariners. It seems like trade rumors, as we're still 4 weeks away from, or 3 weeks away from the trade deadline, are few and far between.
Virtually non-existent. I mean, you have every team that's looking for something is looking for the same thing, namely pitching. A few clubs looking for hitters, but so many clubs think of themselves as contenders right now that I don't see a lot of action. Now, saying that, you know, the last few days I'm sure there'll be some deals, but I know John I think says the same thing, that there's not going to be a lot of action right now as it appears. The GMs I talk to say a lot of talking, no action.
That's what I hear as well, Peter, that the general managers are working over possibilities, trying to find out what other teams might be willing to part with at this point. But face it, Joe D, there are a lot of teams in contention for even wildcard position, and it's going to make it tough to make deals.
Do you think, John, that people will be more in tune to looking towards pitching at this stage because everybody's so close?
Oh, I think so, and I think they're looking some teams to add a starter here somewhere to help them through, or just to get to the bullpen. A lot of bullpens are worn out right now, and they were glad to get to the break.
Yeah, I mean, you have a lot of good teams that need a starting pitcher, like the Braves, like the Mets, like the Cardinals, you know, maybe the Yankees. I mean, you go right down the line. And a name to think about is Bronson Arroyo, who's with the Cincinnati Reds, has a lot of big-time postseason experience, could be expendable. Has bad numbers this year, but's been pitching well overall, and that's one name I think that maybe hasn't been mentioned that could be out there.
We'll see a lot of good pitching on this field tonight. We'll meet the players, hear the national anthems, and be part of a stirring tribute to the Say Hey Kid. That's all next. You're listening to the Baseball Tonight pregame show, live from the 2007 All-Star Game on ESPN Radio.
Is the 2007 All-Star Game on ESPN Radio.
Yesterday at this time it was sunny. Today it's cloudy, cool, a hint of rain in the air at AT&T Park. I'm Jody Ambrosio on the Baseball Tonight pregame show with Peter Pasquarelli and John Rooney, who will be working the dugouts tonight. John, we talked about offense for this National League team. It looks like Tony La Russa has put together a pretty balanced lineup.
It is a balanced lineup, beginning with speed at the top at Jose Reyes, and then you get into some power with Barry Bonds and Beltran can also handle the speed game. But Chase Utley at the bottom down there, number 8, batting ahead of Jake Peavy, 325, 15 homers, 68 RBIs, handles the bat as well as anybody I've seen in the National League the first half.
Well, John, and you know, another thing about the National League lineup, aside from Bonds and Griffey, it's a very young lineup, and you're going to see, you know, Jose Reyes and Chase Utley and Russell Martin in a lot of these games in the next few years. David Wright, Carlos Beltran. You know, I'm not saying the pendulum is swinging, but that's an awful lot of good young talent in that American League lineup. And then you still have Prince Fielder and a lot of young people there.
The lowest home run total, 11 by Martin. The highest, of course, Prince Fielder with 29. And then your American League lineup fans, it has some age, experience, and guys who can really handle the bat.
Well, of course, you have the experience with the David Ortizes, the Derek Jeters, and the Alex Rodriguez's. A lot more familiar names there. We'll see Polanco, who's batting, I believe, 8th. He'll be out of there after his first at bat. Then I think you'll see a lot of Michael Young, who was only the MVP in this game last year.
And then Matthew Ordonez, a 367 average.
American League and National League All-Star team.
All right, and let's talk one quick thing, Peter. Barry Bonds, his home field, great reaction for him. It's going to be a Barry Bonds night.
Well, that first at bat in the bottom of the first inning is going to be electric. That's going to be the best theater of the whole weekend. And you know Barry will save something special for that. I mean, this is one of those situations that he lives for.
Right now, the teams are jogging out. The National League team along the area between second and third base. The American League from the first base dugout going between first and second base. And John, one thing about this American League team with Jeter and A-Rod and David Ortiz, they've been here before.
Well, they have, and they are looking forward to playing. That's another thing. They were enthusiastic yesterday during the workout day. Everybody's had a great time bringing the video cameras out and bringing the cameras out to take pictures with their families and all. But I think they're about to get down to business tonight, and they're looking forward to getting the game started in a while.
And Peter, Home Run Derby is so family-oriented with guys bringing their kids down to the field. You were on the field. You had a chance to see that firsthand.
Well, and I think a lot of the players say that's the fun of the game, that you can bring your family out on the field on that day, and they can be close to you, and they can enjoy the experience together, which makes it, I think, one of the nicest days for the players. You know, never mind anyone else. I think the players enjoy that.
The American League in the road grays, the National League in the home whites, as the wind continues to blow here at AT&T Park. Now, let's go to Joe Buck.
From the Minnesota Twins, manager Ron Gardenhire. From the Texas Rangers, manager Ron Washington. From the Detroit Tigers, Lloyd McClendon. Rafael Belliard. Andy Van Slyke. Gene Lamont. Jeff Jones. And Chuck Hernandez. And now the American League reserves. For the Baltimore Orioles, infielder Brian Roberts. From the Boston Red Sox, pitcher Josh Beckett. Outfielder Manny Ramirez. Infielder Mike Lowell. Pitcher Hideki Okajima. And pitcher Jonathan Papelbon. From the Chicago White Sox, pitcher Bobby Jenks. From the Cleveland Indians, outfielder Grady Sizemore. Catcher Victor Martinez. And pitcher C.C. Sabathia. From the Detroit Tigers, infielder Carlos Guillen. Pitcher Justin Verlander. From the Kansas City Royals, pitcher Gil Mesh. From the Los Angeles Angels of Anaheim, pitcher John Lackey. Pitcher Francisco Rodriguez. From the Minnesota Twins, infielder Justin Morneau. Outfielder Torrey Hunter. And pitcher Johan Santana. From the New York Yankees, catcher Jorge Posada. From the Seattle Mariners, pitcher J.J. Putz. From the Tampa Bay Devil Rays, outfielder Carl Crawford. From the Texas Rangers, infielder Michael Young. From the Toronto Blue Jays, outfielder Alex Rios. And now the National League All-Star Reserve. Now let's meet your National League All-Star team. First, the coaches. From the Florida Marlins, Freddie Gonzalez. From the San Francisco Giants, Bruce Bochy. From the St. Louis Cardinals, Joe Pettini. Pitching coach, Dave Duncan. Marty Mason. And Dave McKay. Out in the bullpen, Jeff Murphy. From the Arizona Diamondbacks, infielder Orlando Hudson. Pitcher Brandon Webb. Pitcher Jose Valverde. From the Atlanta Braves, catcher Brian McCann. From the Chicago Cubs, outfielder Alfonso Soriano. Infielder Derek Lee. From the Colorado Rockies, outfielder Matt Holliday. And pitcher Brian Fuentes. From the Florida Marlins, infielder Miguel Cabrera. From the Houston Astros, pitcher Roy Oswalt. Outfielder Carlos Lee. From the Los Angeles Dodgers, pitcher Brad Penny. And pitcher Takashi Saito. From the Milwaukee Brewers, shortstop J.J. Hardy. Pitcher Ben Sheets. Pitcher Francisco Cordero. From the New York Mets, pitcher Billy Wagner. From the Philadelphia Phillies, outfielder Aaron Rowan. And pitcher Cole Hamels. From the Pittsburgh Pirates, infielder Freddie Sanchez. From the St. Louis Cardinals, infielder Albert Pujols. From the San Diego Padres, pitcher Chris Young. And pitcher Trevor Hoffman. From the Washington Nationals, infielder Dimitri Young. And now let's meet the American League manager and starting lineup. The manager, from the 2006 American League champion Detroit Tigers, Jim Leyland. Batting first and playing center field from the Seattle Mariners, Ichiro Suzuki. Batting second and playing shortstop from the New York Yankees, Derek Jeter. Batting third and playing first base from the Boston Red Sox, David Ortiz. Batting fourth and playing third base from the New York Yankees, Alex Rodriguez. Batting fifth and playing right field from the Los Angeles Angels of Anaheim, Vladimir Guerrero. Batting sixth and playing left field from the Detroit Tigers, Maglio Ordonez. Batting seventh and playing catcher from the Detroit Tigers, Ivan Rodriguez. Batting eighth and playing second base from the Detroit Tigers, Placido Polanco. And And warming up in the bullpen, batting ninth and pitching from the Oakland Athletics, Dan Herron. Ladies and gentlemen, your 2007 American League All-Stars. Now let's meet the National League manager and starting lineup. The manager from the 2006 World Series champion St. Louis Cardinals, Tony La Russa. Leading off and playing shortstop from the New York Mets, Jose Reyes. Here you go, San Francisco. Batting second and playing left field from the San Francisco Giants, Barry Bonds. Center field from the New York Mets, Carlos Beltran. Batting fourth and playing right field from the Cincinnati Reds, Ken Griffey Jr. Batting fifth and playing third base from the New York Mets, David Wright. Batting sixth and playing first base from the Milwaukee Brewers, Prince Fielder. Batting seventh and catching from the Los Angeles Dodgers, Russell Martin. Batting eighth and playing second base from the Philadelphia Phillies, Chase Utley. Pitching and batting ninth from the San Diego Padres, Jake Peavy. Ladies and gentlemen, your 2007 National League All-Stars.
As you might expect, a prolonged ovation for Barry Bonds, who took his hat off and bowed to every section of the ballpark here. And Peter, no surprise that John Lackey from the Angels, Russell Martin from the Dodgers got the loudest boos.
Right, all the Dodgers always get the boos here, so that was no surprise. Brad Penny and Takashi Saito also got booed, which is no surprise whatsoever.
The six umpires for the game make their way out on the third base line. Meanwhile, there is people are ready, and you can hear the crowd chanting, Barry, Barry. John, no question about it. When Barry Bonds comes up in that bottom of the first inning, it will be an electric moment.
Well, it always is for a player in his home ballpark, but as they're following Bonds' chase for Aaron's record, it's going to make it that much more interesting.
There are the color guard is behind home plate. There are groups ready to unfurl large Canadian and American flags in the outfield. And now everyone rises for the national anthem of the country of Canada, performed by the San Francisco Symphony.
And now performing the Canadian national anthem, please welcome members of the San Francisco Symphony.
members of the San Francisco Symphony performing "O Canada." You're listening to ESPN Radio's coverage of the 78th Major League Baseball All-Star Game. Joe D'Ambrosio, Peter Pasquarelli, and John Rooney with you. Dan Schulman, Dave Campbell standing by for the call of the game. We'll have a flyover by members of the United States Navy Fighter Weapons School in Fallon, Nevada, after the Star-Spangled Banner. Harriers flying over AT&T Park as the players stand at attention with their caps over their hearts along the first and third base lines. As John, this is quite a scene here. As I feel a couple of drops of rain starting.
Well, they've had some rain in the forecast, but it isn't dampening any spirits here at all. This is quite a scene.
All right, let us go back now to Joe Buck.
Emmy Award nominations. Please welcome, along with bandmate Kenny Dale Johnson, San Francisco's own Chris Isaac.
Can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous night o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming? And the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave? For the land of the free and the home of the brave.
We're waiting for the Harriers to fly over. I don't think I'd want to be the guy flying the Goodyear blimp as the Harriers approach. They'll be coming from the left field side here. Still waiting from the United States Navy Fighter Weapons School. 2 F-16s, 2 F-A-18s as part of it. It was one of the quieter flyovers, guys, that we've had in an All-Star game.
Well, it's that downtown noise abatement stuff that they have in California. That's probably why.
Right now, both teams are walking out towards center field, the National League from the third base side, the American League from the first base side. And what's going to take place now on the video board, they are paying a tribute to the greatest San Francisco Giant ever, John, Willie Mays.
And they are paying tribute to a player that many believe is the greatest player of all time, and you can argue players in each major league city, but Willie Mays gets the respect of all of those who played against him during his time in the big leagues.
And you know, Willie Mays is Barry Bonds' godfather, and you know, that link is something which is very special to the Giant franchise. For all the troubles with Barry and all the stuff that's gone on around him, that link to the Giants' great past is something that's very real to this franchise.
And my partner in St. Louis, Mike Shannon, paid Willie Mays the great compliment of saying he's the smartest player he's ever seen him.
Picture of Willie. Sorry, John. Picture of Willie shown on the scoreboard. Let's go back to Joe Buck.
Invented for Willie Mays. The Say Hey Kid played in a record 24 Midsummer Classics, and here tonight, among a constellation of the greatest stars in today's game, he shines again. Please welcome, from center field, the Say Hey Kid, number 24, Willie Mays.
As Willie Mays walks out from center field, there are streamers being ejected from behind the center field wall as the great Willie Mays turns and acknowledges the crowd. Fans on their feet cheering. Arguably one of the 5 greatest players in baseball history. Derek Jeter and Barry Bonds walking with Willie as he makes his way through the gauntlet of players from center field. They unveiled a mural right under the scoreboard showing Willie making his catch, that great catch in the World Series. Willie Mays with a jacket with number 24, and instead of Mays, it says "Say Hey," and that says it all. Willie making comments to some of the players as he walks through. And the players, once Willie walks past them, are following the Say Hey Kid back to the field. Now walking by Alex Rodriguez and David Ortiz. Now he stops in the middle to have pictures taken. Jose Reyes moves up to shake his hand. And Willie Mays will throw the ceremonial first pitch to Met shortstop Jose Reyes, and he's telling him, move back. I can throw it farther. Now Willie, after throwing the pitch that Jose made a nice scoop, will get in a 1958 pink Cadillac, just like the kind Peter used to drive. Says "Say Hey" on the vanity plate. Willie talking to the players. Barry Bonds right by his side. And John, of course, there is a special relationship between the Say Hey Kid and Barry Bonds. Now he signs the ball for Jose Reyes and gives it to him.
And Peter touched on their relationship and what this means for San Francisco Giants fans, the link between Mays and Bonds for certain. But they've done a wonderful job here in San Francisco of preparing for this event. It takes so many people to put on this kind of show, and it has been very well staged. And just to have the players responding to Willie Mays, and Mays talking with Griffey, and now he's together with Barry Bonds walking toward the Cadillac. That means a lot to these players to be around such an important member of baseball history.
Now talking to Derek Jeter, he took off the jacket and the cream-colored Giants jersey with Mays 24 on the back, and now Barry Bonds and Derek Jeter assist Willie as he gets into the pink Cadillac and will take a victory lap around AT&T Park. And Peter, you've seen a lot of great ones in your time covering the game. Where do you put Willie Mays?
Well, I never saw him in person, so I really don't know. But, I mean, you talk to the players who played the game against him and since, and, you know, his name always comes up in any discussion of the greatest players ever, and I'm sure that will remain the case as long as baseball is played. You know, you talk about the Giant organization, and one thing they do great at this ballpark also is honor the heritage of this franchise going back to the New York days. I mean, they honor everybody. The Hubbles, the Cepedas, the McCoveys, and, of course, Willie Mays.
Yeah, Willie McCovey, John, a big part last night of Home Run Derby.
And talking about how McCovey Cove was named just beyond the right field wall. But for Mays, a lot of those who saw him play and played with him and against him, they said that this is a guy that he never really left his feet to catch a ball. He always either caught it off the grass tops or made a great running catch while going into the gap.
Willie is throwing baseballs into the crowd. We had to move from our vantage point. We were on the warning track, the track near the third base dugout, and the car's coming by. So we had to vacate for the Say Hey Kid as he throws a ball to one of the policemen. Willie Mays being honored here prior to the 78th Major League All-Star game. Pink Cadillac with, as we said, Say Hey in orange and black. Orange plate, black letters on the vanity plate. Now shaking hands with the home plate umpire, Bruce Fleming, Kerwin Danley, all the umpires stepping around Willie to shake his hand. Meanwhile, the players are going back to their respective dugouts. The American League on the first base side, John, and the National League on the third base side.
I thought it was funny. Ted Barrett played the role of the traffic cop to stop the Cadillac so the other umpires could say hello and shake Willie Mays' hand.
Here's Willie going right by us. Peter, get ready. He might throw you one. Willie Mays being honored here. Throws the ball off the top of the third base dugout, and the crowd just responding in terrific fashion, as you might expect for a San Francisco legend.
You know, Willie's not a stranger here either. He comes to the ballpark a lot. He's usually out at least once or twice a homestand. So this adoration is something that goes on a lot here. Every time he shows up and they show his face, he gets the same kind of response here in San Francisco.
You see Willie, you see Orlando Cepeda at the ballpark a lot here, along with Willie McCovey.
The car now going by Jake Peavy and Russell Martin warming up down the third baseline. It will, I'm sure, take a turn by the outfield, the fans in the bleachers as well. So we are getting set for the first pitch of the 78th All-Star Game. The Baseball Tonight pregame show, live from the 2007 All-Star Game in San Francisco, continues on ESPN Radio after these messages from your local station.
This is the 2007 All-Star Game on ESPN Radio.
Pre-game festivities ending up. Some of the players doing some sprints. The umpires are meeting for the lineup cards at home plate. Peter Pasquarelli is in the American League dugout. John Rooney in the National League dugout. They'll have interviews throughout the game. We'll all be back down on the field here at AT&T Park for the Baseball Tonight postgame show. The 2007 All-Star Game on ESPN Radio is presented by Shell. Shell, made to move. Now the gentlemen calling their 6th All-Star Game. Let's go upstairs for the play-by-play with Dave Campbell. Here is Dan Schulman.
All right, Joe, thank you very much, and welcome to beautiful AT&T Park here in San Francisco for the 2007 Major League Baseball All-Star Game, a meeting of past and present Giants style here in the ballpark tonight. Let's start with the present. Just watched Barry Bonds doing his pregame sprint, horsing around with Jose Reyes, had about a 3-step lead on Reyes and kept looking back and waving as if daring Reyes to, come on, can you catch me, young fella, can you catch me? And then when they got out to center field and finished the sprint side by side, Bonds reached down and grabbed for his hamstring as if he had cramped up or pulled a hamstring or something. We don't often see it, but Barry Bonds, by and large, has been a happy camper the last couple of days.
Yeah, I mean, he's in his home park. He knows he's not going to be booed. He knows he's going to get the great reception. He's already gotten one. He'll get another one when he comes up the first time tonight. He's relaxed, he's at ease, and with a flair for the dramatic, you almost kind of think maybe he might do something magical.
Yep. Well, you had your headset on. I took mine off when he was being introduced. I heard a little bit of booing. I mean, maybe 1 or 2% of the people here trying to make their voices heard over the crowd, but then they broke into a spontaneous chant of Barry, Barry, and we've got to assume, obviously, that most of the people here are locals. There are some out-of-towners who will probably want to make their voices heard, but one way or the other, whether he was voted to start, chosen by the manager, chosen by the players, Barry Bonds was going to be in this game, and truth be told, when you look at the Giants lineup, he deserves to be in this game. Who else from that team was going to make it?
I don't think anybody. I mean, you could have made a case for maybe Matt Morris the way he pitched early on, but nobody else in the lineup really is deserving. So Bonds was going to be here, but he made it the right way. The fans voted him in, and I know the Giants put a big push on. They've been in his corner all along, and I think with help from the San Francisco fans, he got that last outfield ballot.
We look to the past now, and we remember the moment in Boston when Ted Williams was honored back in the All-Star Game that took place at Fenway Park. A similarly touching and special moment with Willie Mays, some would say the greatest player who's ever played the game, being honored here in San Francisco tonight.
Yeah, I mean, I had the good fortune at the beginning of my career in the National League to play against Willie, who was kind of winding down, but he retired in 1973. I vividly remember a game, I think it was 1971, when I was playing with the San Diego Padres, and we had a tie game in the top of the 9th inning. And my roommate, Bob Barton, a former Giant, hit a grand slam home run against Jerry Johnson to put the Pods ahead 8-4. And in the bottom half of the 9th inning, we got 2 guys out, Willie Mays and Willie McCovey. We didn't get anybody else out. The Giants scored 5 and we lost 9-8.
Now, Willie Mays, of course, making the incredible catch that it was talked about, hitting 660 home runs, playing in 24 All-Star games, a 12-time Gold Glove Award winner, 2-time MVP, and on a very, very short list of the greatest players to have ever played the game.
Yeah, and probably if you look at the body of work of his All-Star performances, he easily has been the most electric player in All-Star game history. I mean, Ted Williams had the 2 brilliant games in 1941 where he won the game with the bottom of the 9th inning home run, and then 1946 when he went 4 for 4 with 2 home runs at his home park in Boston. But Willie Mays, when the National League was winning 24 out of 26 games, he was a big part of that, because every time there was a close game, he'd find a way to get on, steal a base, take an extra base, and in those games that were 4-3 and 3-2 and 2-1 and 1-0, he often was the difference.
In recent years, of course, the pendulum has swung sharply towards the American League. In the last 10 All-Star games, the American League is undefeated. 9 wins and the tie in Milwaukee back in 2002. And again, as you probably know, again, home field in the World Series is on the line tonight based on who wins the game. A little National League pride is at stake. They haven't won one while home field has been at stake. But still, I still get the overwhelming feeling from the players' body language and their statements and the way they mingle with one another, that for them this is more about fun and an exhibition game rather than a tooth-and-nail fight like the All-Star game used to be.
Yeah, I mean, the one guy who probably realizes what's at stake more than anybody else might be Jim Leyland, the manager of the American League. He had home field advantage last year, but the Tigers were not able to take advantage of that. But I think it's something like 16 out of the last 19 world champions have had home field advantage, or 16 out of 20. So the numbers are definitely in favor of the home team. Last year it was the aberration with the Cardinals winning 3 in a row in St. Louis, so they never had to go back to Detroit.
Both managers will try to get in as many players as possible. Both managers will hold a couple of pitchers back just in case. Both managers want to win the game. Both managers agree that it's all about the stars, though, and they want to give the people their money's worth, both here in the ballpark and those at home watching on TV, listening on radio, who came to see 64 of the greatest players currently assembled in Major League Baseball. The umpires have gathered at home plate. Bruce Fremming, who's been an umpire so long, he was an umpire in the majors when Willie Mays was an active player. He's the crew chief and working the plate tonight in what is thought to be his final season in the big leagues. I believe his 37th season as a major league umpire. Charlie Relaford will be the umpire at first. Mike Winters at second. Kerwin Danley at third. Ted Barrett down the left field line. And Bill Miller down the right field line. For Fremming, this will be the 3rd time that he has worked the plate in an All-Star game. The starting pitchers have both completed their warm-up tosses. Dan Herron of the Oakland A's plays just across the bay, and Jake Peavy of the San Diego Padres, each of them just 26 years of age, and each of them making their first All-Star start. And I think we talk about the pendulum swinging. Home runs are down 12% from a year ago. We could think of a number of reasons why that may be happening, but there does seem to be a strong influx of great young pitching entering the majors in the last couple of years.
Yeah, one of the things recently there was going to be a day, except there was a rain out, there was going to be 7 pitchers and great stars over 40 years old starting on a particular day. The Tigers got rained out that day. But Roger Clemens and Kenny Rogers and Randy Johnson and Jamie Moyer and the Yoke, those guys are all there. But the young Turks are the ones that are coming along now.
And speaking of young Turks, Jose Reyes leads the National Leaguers out onto the field for the top of the 1st inning. And that brings us to tonight's starting lineups tonight, beginning with the visitors from the American League. Leading off in center field from the Seattle Mariners, Ichiro Suzuki. Batting second, the shortstop from the New York Yankees, Derek Jeter. Hitting third, the first baseman from the Boston Red Sox, David Ortiz. The cleanup hitter is the third baseman from the New York Yankees, Alex Rodriguez. Batting fifth in right field from the Los Angeles Angels of Anaheim, the home run derby champion Vladimir Guerrero. Hitting sixth, playing left field tonight from the Detroit Tigers, Maglio Ordonez. Batting seventh and catching also from the Tigers, Ivan Pudge Rodriguez. Hitting eighth and playing second base also from the Tigers, Placido Polanco. And batting ninth, the starting pitcher tonight from the Oakland Athletics, Dan Herron, 10-3 with an American League leading ERA of 2.30. For the National League, leading off the shortstop from the New York Mets, Jose Reyes. Batting second in left field from the San Francisco Giants, Barry Bonds. Hitting third in center field from the Mets, Carlos Beltran. The cleanup hitter is the right fielder, Ken Griffey Jr. from the Cincinnati Reds. Batting fifth, the third baseman from the Mets, David Wright. Hitting sixth, the first baseman from the Milwaukee Brewers, Prince Fielder. Batting seventh and catching from the Los Angeles Dodgers, Russell Martin. Hitting eighth and playing second base from the Philadelphia Phillies, Chase Utley. And batting ninth, the starting pitcher tonight for the National League from the San Diego Padres, Jake Peavy. Peavy has had an outstanding first half, 9-3 with an ERA of 2.19, the second best ERA in the National League behind only his teammate Chris Young, who is also a National League All-Star.
Well, everybody talks about how the pitchers get a big break at Petco Park in San Diego, but I know you looked it up, and Peavy's ERA on the road is outstanding.
Under 1 run per 9 innings this year, so he's done better away from home than he has at home. We are underway as Peavy rocks into the windup, and the first pitch is a fastball outside for ball 1 to Ichiro, as that ball is instantly taken out of play and will be sent to the Hall of Fame, no doubt, one would imagine. Ichiro hitting .359 on the season, second best in the American League. The 1-0 to him, and a swing and a ground ball, base hit through the right side, past a diving Utley. And Ichiro, who's been an All-Star 7 times in his 7 big league seasons, is aboard. It is 68 degrees at game time here in San Francisco, 5:54 Pacific Daylight Time. The time of the first pitch. Today's time and temperature brought to you by New York Life, who reminds you it's always time to check out the condition of your life insurance and retirement plan by calling a New York Life agent. Jim Leland told us before the game, guys like Ichiro have the green light. He'll let them run whenever they want. Derek Jeter is the batter, hitting .336. He'll take a strike from Peavy.
And baseball fans know the greatest hitting streak in baseball history, 56 by Joe DiMaggio. Ichiro earlier this year hitting 53 out of 56, and over a 2-year period, Derek Jeter hitting 54 of 56.
Throw to first, diving back in Ichiro. He's got 23 steals already, and for folks up in the Pacific Northwest, perhaps big news. News out of Seattle today that the Mariners and Ichiro are reportedly talking about an extension for 5 years and a reported $100 million. He's not going, and the 0-1 to Jeter swung on and missed 0-2. You could make a case 7-8 years ago, longer than that, even Ken Griffey Jr. was Seattle baseball. They were not able to retain him over the course of his entire career. You would think it would be pretty vital for the Mariners to try to retain Ichiro, even at what seems like a lot of money. Just year after year, he doesn't wear down. He doesn't lose any speed. That speed is still great. The 0-2 to Jeter misses inside.
Well, he's been there through thick and thin. His first year, he was the MVP of the American League when Seattle won 116 games. They had a pretty good year the next year, then kind of fell into an abyss until this year, but they've been a surprise team in the first half and very much a factor in the American League West.
Jeter 7 for 13 in All-Star games. The 1-2 check swing on the appeal to first. He didn't go. Charlie Relaford says, the crowd, of course, rooting for the National League here in this NL Park. We already see Brad Penny of the Los Angeles Dodgers starting to throw, so he's going to work the second inning. Some of these starters, of course, take a long time to get ready relative to relievers. So we will see them getting up quite early. Throw to first, diving back in again is Ichiro. Ron Gardenhire, manager of the Minnesota Twins, is coaching at first right now. Ron Washington, the manager of the Texas Rangers, is coaching at third. They may be there just for the first inning, and then the Tiger coaching staff may take over. Ichiro a big lead, but not going as Jeter in a defensive half swing fouls one off the screen in front of the first base dugout. That's where his teammates, the American Leaguers, are. And Jeter kind of smiling. He's getting the taste of Jake Peavy stuff right now and probably not liking it at all. 2-2 the count. Ichiro the lead at first. Just underway here in the first inning. Runner not going, and the pitch to Jeter swung on and grounded out to short. Reyes shovels to Utley for one and on to first. Double play and a bang-bang play at first. Let's pause 10 seconds for station identification. You're listening to the 2007 All-Star Game on ESPN Radio, presented by Shell.
The biggest names, the best talent. This is Sports Radio 560 WQAM, Miami, Fort Lauderdale.
Back in San Francisco, Dan Shulman, Dave Campbell, John Rooney, Peter Pasquarelli, the 2007 Major League Baseball All-Star Game. 2 outs, nobody on. The American League batting in the top of the first. David Ortiz is the hitter. And the pitch from Peavy, a fastball, a little bit high for ball 1.
Danny, I think the hitters get 2 breaks tonight. One with a cloud cover, there's not going to be any shadows. That helps with a 5 o'clock or 5:30 Pacific start. And the other thing is Bruce Fremme, pretty notorious hitters umpire.
The 1-0. There's a fastball over the outside corner with the knees. Ortiz didn't think so. 1-1 on a Big Poppy, who's got a smirk on his face as he steps out. And this being a National League park for the All-Star game, Ortiz is playing first base. No DH in this game. 1-1 and a swing and a miss and a nasty cutter. A pitch at 89 miles an hour that just roared in under the hands of David Ortiz, and he missed that ball by as much as I've ever seen him. He swung 5 or 6 inches over the top of that pitch.
Fooled was Big Poppy.
1-2 the count. Peavy right back at him with a fastball just inside. Russell Martin, the Dodger catcher, tried to frame it and sneak it back over the inside corner. But the count now even at 2-2.
Well, you can see why the Dodgers like to throw to Russell Martin, the thinking man's catcher. Big Poppy was probably looking for that breaking ball again, and Peavy buried a fastball in on his hands.
Infielders play him to pull, but not the full shift. The 2-2 fastball away. And a full count on Ortiz with A-Rod coming up if the inning continues. Jake Peavy throwing hard, just 11-14 a year ago. Had some shoulder tendonitis that he battled through, but has always been considered one of the up-and-coming young pitching stars. The 3-2 and a swing and a ground ball to the right side on the outfield grass. Shea Sutley scoops it up, throws to first, and it's dropped by Fielder, gets by him. A low throw that gets by Fielder. Ortiz was barely running on the play, assuming he was going to be out, but manages to arrive safely at first as the ball wound up in foul territory. Utley threw Fielder a sinker, but it was still a catchable ball, maybe just below the knees of Fielder. And I imagine the air is going to go on the big first baseman, allowing Ortiz to reach.
Yeah, I mean, Utley did not give him a good throw, but that's one that has to be handled by a good first baseman. I think Prince was kind of in a relaxed mode, and Utley threw him that sinker, and he had his feet just a little crossed up.
Ortiz puts his arm around Prince Fielder at first base, trying to console him a little bit. The air on Fielder prolongs the inning. I mean, the players had started coming off the field. Ortiz was barely running down the line. But we've got a runner at first, 2 down. And the batter now, Alex Rodriguez, who takes down and away ball 1. A-Rod with a sensational first half, leading the majors in home runs with 30 and RBIs with 86. And the player who received more all-star votes than any other in the majors, the first time in his career, Alex Rodriguez could make that claim. The 1-0 from Peavy, and a swing and a ground ball down to third, a diving stop to his left by right, back to his feet and on to Utley to force Ortiz and end the inning. No runs, a hit, an error, a man left. And Barry Bonds due up second when we come back to the bottom of the first. Scoreless through half an inning. You're listening to the 2007 Major League Baseball All-Star Game on ESPN Radio, presented by Shell.
This is the 2007 All-Star Game on ESPN Radio.
And welcome back to San Francisco. The American League does not score in the top of the first. Now here comes the National League with Jose Reyes, Barry Bonds, and a Carlos Beltran coming up against Oakland right-hander Dan Herron. 10-3 with an ERA of 2.30 and 19 starts in the first half. First All-Star selection. Born here in Northern California, plays just across the bay in Oakland, so it has to be a very special moment for him. Herron replacing Barry Zito as the de facto ace for the Oakland A's and has stepped up and then some. Alex Rodriguez at third, Derek Jeter at short, Placido Polanco at second, David Ortiz at first, Maglio, Ordonez, Ichiro, and Vladimir Guerrero left to right in the outfield. Pudge Rodriguez catching as Jose Reyes steps in and takes up and away ball 1. Reyes, whose smile, if possible, might be even a little bit bigger here with the All-Star game than it is during a regular season game. He's always having fun. The 1-0 now on the way, and a swing and a ground ball up the middle and past Polanco into center field, a base hit. Reyes racing hard down the line. Remember, twice in the last 10 days, got a little trouble for not running out balls, as now Barry Bonds makes his way to the plate. A standing ovation with a lot of noise, and again some scattered boos for Barry Bonds as he tips his helmet to the crowd and now steps in. Bonds' 14th All-Star selection. The pitch from Herron. It's a fastball away for ball one.
Well, Derek Jeter and Griffey were giving Bonds the needle about hitting second. It's, you know, Barry, you may have to bunt a guy along, or you may have to give yourself up to get the man over.
Now is Reyes going to run? Jim Leland says he'll tell his pitchers to pitch to Bonds. There goes Reyes. Pitch taken for a strike. Throw down and safe at second. Just ahead of the throw is Jose Reyes.
Well, if this were a regular season game, Bonds might get an intentional walk. He's gotten 30 of them so far this year, but this is the beauty of hitting number 2. Plus, Jim Leland said there's no way I'm walking Barry Bonds intentionally in an all-star game.
Pretty good throw by Pudge Rodriguez, just a little bit high. Otherwise, they might have had him. So they'll pitch to Bonds, as Leland said they would, with a count of 1-1. No score here in the bottom of the first. Herron checks the runner, and the pitch, a swing and a foul ball hit off the screen in front of the first base dugout, 1-2.
Danny Herron with a 4-seamer, a 2-seamer. He's worked on a cutter this year, has maybe one of the best splits in the game, and as Frank Thomas has talked about Herron, his teammate last year, he said nothing ever comes in straight.
He's in the book. Barry Bonds got him last year on a 3-0 fastball. Herron here ahead 1-2. Glances back at Reyes, and the pitch, and a swing and a ball hit way up in the air to shallow right field. Polanco, the second baseman, called off by Guerrero, who makes the catch, and Guerrero shows off that arm by firing a one-hop strike into third. Reyes wasn't going anywhere. He stays at second. Bonds is retired.
Well, that's one of those plays where Polanco was calling it, but wisely got out of the way once Vlad called it, because Vlad, A, is coming in, and B, has about 5 times the arm strength of Placido Polanco.
So Bonds retired. He'll no doubt get another and maybe a third at bat. You've got to imagine that he might be one of the guys, because he plays here, that Tony La Russa will leave it a little bit longer. Here's Carlos Beltran in his 4th All-Star appearance, hitting .264, 16 home runs, playing between Bonds and Griffey in the National League outfield. Batting from the left side against the righty Herron. And the pitch, a fastball that looked real good, but is called low for a ball. 1-0 on Beltran. Herron with the ball in his bare hand, held behind his back as he looks into Pudge Rodriguez for the sign. A look back at Reyes out at second. And the 1-0. There's a fastball for a strike. 1-1.
Well, Beltran continues to be a bit of an enigma. I was talking with Omar Minaya last night at the gala, and he just says, you know, I mean, sometimes he's tough to figure out. We know when Beltran gets hot, you cannot get him out. He just starts hitting rockets all over the ballpark.
The 1-1 on the way. Fastball there for a strike. 1-2. Herron not messing around a whole lot so far. Fastball between 92, 93 miles an hour. A former member of the Cardinals, traded to Oakland about 3 years back in the Mark Mulder deal. Just come up with the Cardinals in 2004. The 1-2 and a fastball hit hard down the right field line, but a hooking foul and caught by a fan up in the 5 or 6 rows of seats up above the brick wall, but about 15 feet to the right of the pole.
How about last night? Not one splash hit. A couple of balls hit in the cove, but they were foul. But during the home run derby, not one hit by a left-handed batter into the cove.
The righties carried the day. The semifinals and finals, the last 4 were all right-handed hitters. The 1-2 to Beltran, and he fouls it off. I know one of our first memories of Dan Herron was the 2004 World Series. We had seen him late in the season, but in that World Series, when the Cardinals looked completely overmatched by the Red Sox in every facet of the game, there was one pitcher who stuck out in our minds as being not afraid to challenge guys like Ortiz and Manny, and it was Dan Herron, and he was a rookie at the time.
Yeah, he was good. He pitched in a game in Boston in relief.
Time is called. Herron in the World Series pitched, I believe, 5 2/3 innings and didn't give up a run in the World Series. Pitched very well in the postseason, and now here he is 3 years later with Oakland in his first All-Star appearance and starting the All-Star game. What an honor for a guy at a relatively early stage of his career. 1-2 to Beltran, and a swing and a foul tip held by Rodriguez. Beltran is gone, 2 down.
Danny, I was talking to, we'll say a non-named person last night at the gala, and we were discussing the trade with Danny Herron for Mark Mulder, and also a guy in that trade was a guy named Derek Barton, who's been absolutely tearing up the Pacific Coast League. So not a good deal for the Cardinals right now. Mulder expected back maybe by mid to late August.
Here's Ken Griffey Jr., now a 13-time All-Star. Junior, 286, 23 home runs, 59 RBIs. Runner at second, 2 down, and the pitch comes in low. Don't know that with all the injuries that Junior's had in recent years, we ever thought he'd be back at this stage. But it's like the Junior of 4, 5, 6 years ago right now, and a guy who also, like Bonds, appears to really be enjoying himself here these last couple of days. A look back by Heron and the 1-0. A fastball fouled back to our left, 1-1.
Quite a sight last night to see Frank Robinson here and Junior walking over to him and talking to him just before the break. Junior hit number 586 to tie Frank for 6 on the all-time list, and a couple of magnificent baseball players.
No score in the bottom of the first. And somewhat of a cool night here in San Francisco. The 1-1 is outside, ball 2, and Aaron upset at his lack of execution on that last pitch.
First 7 years Junior was in Cincinnati, missed 435 games. That averages out almost to 3 seasons of 145 games he missed.
The 2-1, and it's in for a strike. So if you give him 3 more seasons of baseball, might give another
35 to 40 home runs.
Yeah, he's closing in on 700.
Yep. Ifs and buts were candy and nuts. We'd all have a Merry Christmas. No World War II. Ted Williams would have hit 700.
Aaron checks the runner, and the 2-2 pitch, a swing and a ground ball off the mound and into center field. A base hit around third and in to score is Reyes. Ken Griffey Jr. with an RBI single, and the National League takes a 1-0 lead.
Ball hit the mound and carried up in the air, and you thought for a second that Jeter might be able to flag it down, but it had just enough overspin to get through into the outfield, and the National League draws first blood.
Remember, the American League unbeaten in the last 10 All-Star games. Here's David Wright of the New York Mets hitting .292 with 16 home runs and 51 RBIs. For Wright, his second All-Star appearance, same as his teammate and buddy Jose Reyes. The pitch to him, and he'll take it outside for ball 1.
Well, it appears New York has a lock on the left side of the 2 infields. Jeter and A-Rod for the Yankees, Reyes and Wright for the New York Mets.
And with the youth of Reyes and Wright, they could be there for years and years to come. The 1-0 is hooked foul down the left field line. In fact, Wright, Reyes, Utley, Fielder, the infield for the National League, and Russell Martin behind the plate. I mean, these guys could lock up some spots for many years to come.
I mean, youth be served. I mean, a lot of people always talk about the veterans, but as Jim Leland says, give me the young talent. I'll take it any day of the week.
David Wright hit a home run in the All-Star game a year ago. Prince Fielder on deck should the inning continue as the 1-1 comes in high, ball 2.
David last year went into the finals of the Home Run Derby, then only hit 6 in the second half and none in April of this year. We saw Bobby Abreu struggle, but on the other side of the coin, Ryan Howard had a great second half last year after winning the Home Run Derby.
The 2-1, a swing and a bouncer to short, right at Jeter. He'll flip it on to second in time to force the runner and end the inning. The National League, though, scores a run early on an RBI single by Ken Griffey Jr. through an inning 1-0 for the NL. The 2007 All-Star Game on ESPN Radio, presented by Shell, continues after these messages from your local station.
This is the 2007 All-Star Game on ESPN Radio.
1-0 National League going to the top of the second. Let's go down to field level. Here's John Rooney.
All right, thank you very much, Dan. And I have Jake Peavy with me. And Jake, right off the top, Ichiro gets on base, but you worked around that.
Yeah, it was tough. I sure didn't plan it that way with Ichiro getting on, with having to pitch to Jeter. But we made some good pitches and fortunately got out of it unscathed.
The Padres had some fun in the first half. How about the second half as you battle the Dodgers and the Diamondbacks?
Hey, we're looking forward to it. We start off with Arizona, so we hope to play well in that series. And obviously, I think this thing can go down to the wire. With us in L.A. and Arizona, so to speak.
As you're congratulated by your teammates, way to go, Jake. Thank you.
Thanks for having me on.
Back upstairs.
All right, John, thank you. So Jake Peavy goes 1 inning. Here's Brad Penny of the Dodgers, who comes in and fires into strike to Vladimir Guerrero. Penny, an outstanding 10-1 record with a 2.39 ERA. The National League starter a year ago in the All-Star game. The 0-1 to Guerrero, swinging a foul off out of play down the right side, 0-2. And Penny came out throwing BBs a year ago. Soup struck out the side of the first inning.
Yeah, and I think maybe expended a little too much energy because in his subsequent starts for the Dodgers, he did not fare quite so well. But he hit 98, 99 on the radar gun last year.
Here's the 0-2 and a swing and a broken back ground ball down to third. David Wright up with it, and the play on to first in time to get Guerrero for the out as the home run derby champion from a night ago shatters a bat and grounds out in his first at bat. Here's Maglio Ordonez now of the Tigers. He's their right fielder, but tonight he's playing left field. Deferring to Guerrero and Wright, Ordonez has the highest batting average in the major leagues. He's hitting .367. He's hit 13 home runs and driven in 70 runs already this season. One of the big reasons why the Tigers' offense is the best in all of baseball.
You know, Jim Leyland, ever being the diplomat, said he hit his own hitters 6, 7, and 8. And he didn't want to be accused of showing any favoritism.
And he pitches in low, ball 1. And again, the manager has much less say in the formation of the All-Star team than he used to. But he still obviously chooses the order and the order of the pitchers within reason. The 1-0, a swing and a fly ball hit to right field. Griffey, a couple of steps to his left, will reach up and make the grab 2 down. There's activity in both bullpens. It looks like Ben Sheets of Milwaukee will work the third and Cole Hamels the fourth, as Hamels has just gotten up. The National League thinking way ahead, and Josh Beckett of the Red Sox is up in the American League pen.
Danny, one of those statistical oddities, this being the 78th All-Star game, and coming into the game, each league had scored 326 runs.
Yes.
It's pretty amazing.
Although each league has had incredible peaks and valleys. Yeah. Here's Pudge Rodriguez, and Penny's pitch is a little bit low, ball 1.
From 1933 to 49, the American League went 12-4. From 1950 to 82, the National League went 31-6-1.
Wow. The 1-0 to Pudge, hitting .288. A fastball swung on, grounded to short, backhanded by Reyes, sets his feet, fires across to first to get him by a step, and the inning is over. Brad Penny, 3 outs on 7 pitches. The National League coming back up. Prince Fielder will lead it off. The NL up 1-0 as we go to the bottom of the second. You're listening to the 2007 All-Star Game on ESPN Radio, presented by Shell.
This is the 2007 All-Star Game on ESPN Radio.
Bottom of the second here in San Francisco, the National League leading the American League 1-0. Dan Herron of the Aces back out on the mound for the American League. Josh Beckett warming up in the American League pen. Don't know if we'll see him in a mid-inning pitching change. Probably more likely if Herron gets through this rather quickly that we'll see Beckett in the third. Ben Sheets of Milwaukee is going to be the next pitcher for the National League.
Yeah, I was thinking, I just saw Prince Fielder having a conversation with Bruce Fleming. They both have Milwaukee ties. Bruce is from Milwaukee, probably discussing restaurants, I would guess.
Here's Fielder, first pitch. He tries to check the swing, and the appeal down to third. He succeeded, so it's 1-0 on Prince Fielder, the National League leader in home runs with 29. And along with his dad Cecil, from whom unfortunately he is estranged, the 12th father-son combo in All-Star history. Herron pumps in his strike, and it's 1-1. Fielder still looking over where that ball passed over the plate, as if to say, I still think it was outside. Voted to start in the All-Star game. How about that for a Milwaukee Brewer? As the 1-1 is taken down and in, 2 balls and a strike when you've got the likes of Albert Pujols and Derek Lee and some big names at first base in the National League.
Yeah, to me it was a surprise, but you know, give Prince credit, 29 home runs, and evidently the fans took a shine to him, so they voted him in.
Ryan Howard, another one. The 2-1 is low, ball 3, and one of 4 Brewers on the team. Another statement that Milwaukee is truly a team on the rise.
J.J. Hardy, their shortstop, who got off to a blistering start, he's cooled down some, and of course Sheets and Cordero.
The 3-1 on the way, and a check swing by Fielder. He'll draw a leadoff walk here in the bottom of the second. And that's going to bring up the Dodger catcher, Russell Martin. Martin, listen to the booing that comes here because he's a Dodger.
Now, Long memories these Giant fans have. All of a sudden, when Francisco Rodriguez and John Lackey, as the Angels were introduced, I'm going, wait a minute, they're not the Dodgers. Oh, yeah, the Angels beat the Giants in the World Series in 2002.
Bobby Jenks of the White Sox has started to throw in the AL pen. The pitch to Martin, a big swing and a miss. So it may be Beckett for the third and Jenks here in the second if Herron runs into some difficulty. He's already thrown over 25 pitches.
Jenks is the, quote, out of the inning guy if needed.
Russell Martin of the Dodgers considered by some to be a viable MVP candidate at this point of the season. The 0-1, a strike taken 0-2. Not bad for a guy who made his major league debut in May of last year. This year he's hitting .306, 11 home runs, 60 RBIs, and get this for a catcher, 16 stolen bases, and the pitchers love him. The 0-2 from Herron, a ball in the dirt down and away, and a very nimble move there by Pudge Rodriguez to slide outside and block it.
Yeah, and there's a number of veteran catchers who might be listening out there are probably saying to themselves, Russell, enjoy those stolen bases for the next couple of years, because pretty soon those legs are going to start getting a little heavy.
1-2 the count, 1-0 the National League leads. We're in the bottom of the second. Prince fielder at first, nobody out. And the 1-2 to Martin in the dirt, blocked again by Rodriguez as the ball came up a couple of feet short of the plate, came up off the chest protector of Pudge. That's the 30th pitch thrown by Dan Herron, and if you're a White Sox fan, don't go anywhere. I think Bobby Jenks might be coming in pretty soon.
Yeah, Jim Leyland's not going to extend Dan Herron out too far and endure the wrath of Bob Guerin, the manager of the A's. And this, again, is an exhibition, but they do want to win, but keep it within reason.
The 2-2, a swing and a broken bat, liner down to third, caught by A-Rod, and back to first goes Fielder. The bat wound up just to Alex Rodriguez's left on the edge of the outfield grass. So good concentration by him to stay with the baseball on that broken bat lineout.
Danny, we talked about, and you mentioned the streaky nature of the All-Star game over the years. I mean, the National League still leads 40-35, but we talked about that National League domination from 1950 to 82, going 31-6. Since 1988, the American League has won 15 of the last 18, and the three the National League won were in succession, 94, 95, and 96.
Chase Utley's going to be the batter now, the starter at second base for the National League. Utley from the Phillies swings and misses at the first pitch, and it's 0-1. Utley hitting at .325, has driven in 68 runs already. This is his second All-Star appearance. And on deck in the pitcher spot for the National League is Florida Marlin third baseman Miguel Cabrera, who has a sore left shoulder. The 0-1 is fouled back 0-2, and we are under the impression Cabrera cannot play defense, but is able to hit. So he'll be used as a pinch hitter. And it looks like Pittsburgh second baseman Freddie Sanchez, who played third base last year, is going to be the number 2 third baseman tonight for the National League. They still have a second baseman in reserve in Orlando Hudson of Arizona. The 0-2 to Utley, a swing and a fly ball driven to right center field. Ichiro going back into the alley will make the catch and then spin and fire it back into the infield. 2 down, and Prince Fielder lumbers back to first base.
Lumbers? What do you mean by that?
Well, a graceful lumber.
Yes.
He's as light on his feet as a 260-pound man can be.
Indeed. Speaking of 260-pound men, I think the guy stepping in right now is coming pretty close to tipping those scales.
There is no question that Cabrera is a couple of pant sizes up from where he was the last couple of years, but the numbers still say he's having a great year. .324, 18 homers, 61 RBIs. 2 outs and a man at first, 1-0 National League as Cabrera takes outside, ball 1.
Fellow countryman Ozzie Guillen, who was a coach with the Florida Marlins when Cabrera was a rookie in 2003, had a talk with Cabrera this year, and he said, just remember one thing, Miguel, when you're hitting 300, it's okay, but if you're hitting 280, they're going to start calling you fat.
Yep. The 1-0, and Cabrera looks at a strike. Cabrera, of course, bursting onto the scene back a few years ago in 2003, and from the moment he arrived, Sue, he was like Dontrell Willis. I mean, they came up and just energized the Florida Marlins. The 1-1 is pulled foul on the third base side, and the count is 1-2.
Well, this kid is a tremendous talent with the bat. I mean, the third base this year, he and Henry Ramirez, the shortstop, have had a lot of difficulties on defense, and that's one of the reasons the Marlins struggled in the first half. But quite frankly, if he's going to play third base, he's going to have to maybe drop 20 pounds to get a little more agility. If they move him over to first base, that's a horse of a different course.
Already his fourth All-Star selection. He's 24 as he swings and lifts a fly ball high down the right field line, but it is slicing foul into the seats deep in the corner. Cabrera listed at 6'4", 240. And it may have cracked his bat as he heads back toward the third base dugout, and he'll get a new one.
Memory of Cabrera, that 2003 World Series, 19-year-old kid came up that middle of that year. Roger Clemens, and supposedly his swan song last game buzzed him right under the chin, and Cabrera hit the next pitch out in right center field. He was not intimidated.
Now Jim Leland is trying to give Dan Herron a chance to navigate his way out of this second inning. He's at 38 pitches. The 1-2, swing and a miss, and he gets it done as he strikes out Cabrera, and the inning is over. No runs, no hits, and a man left. We're through 2. The National League leading 1-0. The 2007 All-Star Game on ESPN Radio, presented by Shell, continues after these messages from your local station.
This is the 2007 All-Star Game on ESPN Radio.
Welcome back to San Francisco. Top of the third inning here in the All-Star Game. The National League leading the American League 1-0. I'm Dan Schulman along with Dave Campbell, Peter Pasquarelli, who is down in the American League dugout. John Rooney is in the National League dugout. Placido Polanco of the Tigers will lead it off. We've got a new pitcher in for the National League, Ben Sheets of the Milwaukee Brewers. Sheets is 10-4 with an ERA of 3.41 on the season. Polanco, the Tigers second baseman, has a bad back, and he'll get this one at bat, and this could be it for him. We may be seeing a lot of Brian Roberts of the Orioles the rest of the night out at second base. Jim Leland wants to protect his player. Sheets' first pitch. Polanco shows bunt, and he takes a strike.
Well, if he shows bunt again, then that means the back's going to bother him too much to swing the bat. Yeah. So let's see if that was a tip-off there.
Jake Peavy, a scoreless inning. Brad Penny, a scoreless inning for the National League as Polanco swings, grounds one out to short. Reyes ranging to his left, and from behind second base, he will throw out Polanco for out number 1. And as Polanco makes his way back to the first base dugout, that may be the last we see of him tonight. Now we've got a pinch hitter coming up for Dan Herron. Boston Red Sox outfielder Manny Ramirez, his 11th All-Star selection, hitting .284, 11 homers, 45 RBIs. Not a typical Manny first half.
Yeah, David Ortiz only 14 home runs in the first half too, so the Red Sox have done it without their two big guns.
Ramirez takes outside, ball 1. Ramirez laughing and joking and smiling, and Manny being Manny, don't know who he's joking with, whether it's Ichiro on deck or somebody a little bit further away in the first base dugout. Now he locks in a little bit as the 1-0 from Sheets is swung on and lifted in the air down the right field line. Over in the corner in fair territory is Ken Griffey Jr. just on the fair side of the line to make the catch. Manny Ramirez is retired, 2 down. And back to the top of the order now for Ichiro, who got this game started with a base hit, but then was erased on a double play.
Guys, still just absolute marvel watching Ichiro play and trying to figure out how to defense him. I don't think the American League's figured it out yet, and we don't see him on an everyday basis, so we don't have a chance.
Watched him take BP before the game today as Ben Sheets delivers, and Ichiro takes a breaking ball, low ball 1. I still believe, and I think a lot of people feel this way, if they asked or if he said yes, if he went into the home run derby, I think he'd have a shot, because he has the ability to adapt his swing to the situation as well as anybody in the game today. 1-0 National League third inning, and the 1-0 to Ichiro in for a strike.
Now, Peter Gammons used to say, and he used to cover the Red Sox on a regular basis, that Wade Boggs could win any home run derby. He wanted to as well.
Here's the 1-1, and Ichiro takes low, ball 2. Made the adjustment this year from right field to center field, and by all accounts somewhat flawlessly. A superior athlete.
Well, he played center in Japan for 7 years, so kind of back home.
2-1, fastball at the knees, 2-2. He was backing away from that pitch. One of those where he thinks about swinging and starts running at the same time, but decided not to swing. The 2-2, and he reaches down and loops a breaking ball to shallow left field, and it drops in for a base hit. Bonds will retrieve it, and Ichiro is aboard with a 2-out single.
Well, John Olerud once was quoted as saying Ichiro has 5 distinct swings. That was the chip shot there, where it hits it like a little golf 9-iron the opposite way. He's got the running leaner where he hits a line drive to center. He's got the one where he intentionally tries to chop it on the left side of the infield and run and beat it out. He's got the power swing, and I forgot the 5th one, but I guarantee you we just saw the little half wedge chip shot to left field.
And if you're Ben Sheets, you can't throw a better breaking ball than he just threw. It was ankle high, and Ichiro basically just reached down and flicked it with one hand into shallow left field. So he's at first with 2 down. The American League batting in the 3rd, trailing 1-0. And here's Jeter, who grounded into a double play in the 1st inning. Swings at the first pitch and hits a liner off the mound and past a diving Utley into center, a base hit. Ichiro up to second, 2 on with 2 out for the American League, with David Ortiz coming up.
Well, Ichiro and Jeter, the offense right now for the American League. They have all 3 hits. Ichiro with a pair, and Derek Jeter finds a hole there.
Here's Big Papi, who reached on an error in the 1st inning. He's playing first base tonight. The run in this game coming in the bottom of the 1st on an RBI single by Ken Griffey Jr. that scored Jose Reyes. Ortiz hitting .314, 14 home runs and 52 RBIs on the season as he bounces the first pitch foul up the first baseline. And now, as we look at the coaches, we've got, it looks like Andy Van Slyke at first base now for the American League. The Tiger normal first base coach. Ron Gardenhire was out there early, but that's still Ron Washington at 3rd. The Texas manager, a longtime third base coach with the Oakland A's. The 0-1, Ortiz checks the swing and he takes it low, a ball and a strike.
Well, Washington probably waited all his life to get to the All-Star game, so he's not going to relinquish his spot easily.
Cole Hamels has been warming in the National League pen. We'll see him next inning. And I do believe we'll see Josh Beckett in the bottom half of this inning for the American League. The 1-1 to Ortiz is low, ball 2.
Well, you know, everybody knows Big Papi over about a 3.5-year period had 16 walk-off hits, including 8 home runs. But he's only had 1 walk-off hit since last July, and he's been in a bit of a drought.
Ichiro at second. Jeter at first, and the 2-1, a swing and a liner to right field, but right at Griffey. The inning is over. No runs, 2 hits, 2 men left on. We'll go to the bottom of the 3rd, 1-0 National League with Barry Bonds due to hit second. You're listening to the 2007 All-Star Game on ESPN Radio, presented by Shell.
Is the 2007 All-Star Game on ESPN Radio.
1-0 National League as we go to the bottom of the 3rd. Let's go down to the American League dugout right now. Here's Peter Pasquarelli.
Thanks, Dan. I'm with Danny Herron, the American League starter. Danny, right under the gun right away, getting Jose Reyes on base, but limited the damage in that inning.
Yeah, I did. You know, hit a ground ball at the middle. What are you going to do? He gets on first. You know he's probably going to take the bag. Try to be quick, but I think he stole it off me because that throw Pudge made was perfect.
Jitters, I imagine, but a nice reception here from the Bay Area fans.
Yeah, it was awesome. Obviously some Oakland A's people here, and yeah, it was cool. I mean, I had the chills just warming up, and then obviously getting out there, the adrenaline was flowing.
Danny Herron, 2 solid innings in his Major League All-Star debut. Thanks for your time. Back up to Dan.
All right, Peter, thank you. Josh Beckett of the Red Sox into the game to pitch here in the bottom of the 3rd. 1-0 National League. A strike taken by Jose Reyes. And now the next pitch is swung on and popped up on the third base side of the field and back out of play just to the inside of the dugout. So an 0-2 count on Reyes. Also into the game, Brian Roberts of Baltimore at second base. As we mentioned, Placido Polanco, Jim Leland wanted to get him one at bat and then get him out of the game because he's got a sore back. So Roberts of the Orioles figures to play the rest of the way at second base. Reyes singled, stole a base, as Dan Herron mentioned, and scored back in the 1st, the only run of the game. Beckett rocks into the windup, and the 0-2 pitch, and a breaking ball hits softly down to 3rd, and it takes a hop under the glove of Alex Rodriguez, down the line into foul territory, and already around second base, and then putting on the brakes is Reyes. a little check swing cue ball with all kinds of spin on it that ate up Alex Rodriguez, and I got to believe is probably going to go as a double.
Well, it has to go as a double, and you're just glad that Reyes doesn't play with the Twins. Otherwise, he'd be known as Minnesota Fats with that shot. I mean, that had unbelievable English on it.
A-Rod set up and reached out to make a backhanded play on it, and the ball bounced 3 feet to his right. That's how much spin there was on it.
He was watching Ichiro, and he decided to one-up him.
So here's Barry Bonds again, and again there's a base opener, but Jim Leyland has said they will pitch to him in the All-Star game. Beckett's first pitch, Bonds shortens up on the bat and takes low ball 1. Well, he's hitting in the 2-hole, right?
Yeah, but
he's smiling. Look at him. He just wanted to look over a pitch. The crowd didn't know quite what to make of it. They want to see him figuratively and literally make a splash here in this All-Star game. Reyes out at second. He's 2 for 2. A look back by Beckett. And the 1-0 to Bonds. A fastball fouled back into the screen, 1-1.
Well, Barry had a pitch to hit right there. That would not have gone probably splash, but he was aiming for deep right center field.
751 career home runs, as the sign says, out in deep right center here at AT&T Park. 4 from tying, 5 from passing Hank Aaron. 1 ball, 1 strike the count with Carlos Beltran of the Mets on deck. Beckett sets. He deals, and a swing and a fly ball hit to left field. Ordonez back on the track, reaches up and makes the catch a few feet in front of the fence. That got everybody here at the ballpark to their feet, but Bonds leaves it a few feet short. He's retired. Reyes stays at second.
Well, it looked like it had the trajectory. You just wonder if maybe last night that ball probably would have carried.
And Ordonez looking pretty comfortable playing left. The spin is different on everything in left for a left fielder than a right fielder. Bonds seemed to know fairly quickly that he didn't get it all as he watched it settle into the glove of Ordonez. 1-0 National League, bottom of the third. Runner at second, 1 out, and here's Beltran. Trying to cash in his teammate Reyes as Beckett misses low, ball 1.
Well, both times Bonds has had a man at second, and he has not advanced them. Of course, Barry not up there to play the little ball, and Reyes still at second base.
The next pitcher for the National League is going to be Cole Hamels of the Phillies. The 1-0, a check swing by Beltran, and he takes it low, ball 2. And after that, it looks like it'll be Chris Young of the Padres, who has just went down to the bullpen, taken off his warm-up jacket, and is starting to stretch. And that is the unmistakable form of CC Sabathia, starting to throw in the American League bullpen right now for the next inning. Each team with 12 pitchers on the staff. The 2-0 and a swing and a ground ball out to second. Roberts with a play, and he'll flip it on to first to get a Beltran 2 down, Reyes to third.
So another guy, it's a good thing he's not playing for the Minnesota Twins, or we'd call him Paul Bunyan. He's that big.
Sabathia, you were taken aback by his size when you interviewed him last night.
You talking about he and Alex Rios both. I mean, Rios is a legitimate 6'5", and Sabathia is a legitimate 6'7".
Well, the guy warming up down the other side, 6'10".
Yeah, well,
Chris Young.
I wasn't on that side. I would have never needed a step ladder.
Here's Ken Griffey Jr. had an RBI single in the bottom of the first. That's the only run of the game. Reyes at third, 2 down. Beckett works from the stretch and steps off. He's not going to do it with Beckett from the stretch.
Oh, no.
But Reyes wants to make things happen.
Oh,
you can see the way he's run the bases that he's got an extra spring in his step. He's having some fun and wants to really make a statement. Here's the pitch to Griffey, and a swing and a foul off 0-1.
Well, Junior Griffey and his father, the only father-son combination to ever both be the MVPs of the All-Star game. Ken Sr. in 1980 and Junior in 92. Barry Bonds' father, Bobby Bonds, was the MVP in 1973, but Barry's never won that honor.
Now, we mentioned Cecil Fielder played in All-Star games as well, but it was not an MVP. Prince Fielder in this All-Star game here. Beckett shakes off Pudge, now ready. And the 0-1, a fastball just below the knees at 96. A ball and a strike on Ken Griffey Jr.
Well, there was one 3-generational family. Ray Boone, the patriarch, and then Bob Boone, his son, and then grandsons Aaron and Brett all played in the All-Star game.
David Wright on deck should the inning continue. The 1-1 in for a strike, 1-2 on Griffey.
It was one of those ironies too when Aaron Boone hit the home run to win the pennant for the Yankees in 2003. Grandpa Ray had been a scout for the Boston Red Sox for about 35 years.
Beckett gets his sign from Rodriguez. Reyes inching down the line in the 1-2 to Griffey. A swing and a miss and a ball down and in. Beckett strikes him out and the inning is over. No runs, a base hit, and a man left on at third. We're through 3 in San Francisco with the National League leading 1-0. You're listening to the 2007 All-Star Game on ESPN Radio, presented by Shell.
This is the 2007 All-Star Game on ESPN Radio.
Welcome back to San Francisco, along with Dave Campbell, John Rooney, and Peter Pasquarelli. I'm Dan Schulman. We go to the top of the 4th inning. The National League on a first-inning RBI single by Ken Griffey Jr., leading the American League 1-0. 2 more changes for the National League. Barry Bonds is out of the game already. Alfonso Soriano was into the game in left field. Soriano from the Cubs, of course. And on the mound now for the National League, young left-hander Cole Hamels from the Philadelphia Phillies. 10-4 with an ERA of 3.72 on the season. A double switch, so put the pitcher Hamels in the 2 spot. Soriano goes into the 9 spot. Hamels, he of the great changeup, will face Alex Rodriguez, Vladimir Guerrero, and Maglio Ordonez. First pitch to A-Rod, and there is that changeup, and it's a swing and a miss by A-Rod, 0-1.
Well, Hamels grew up in San Diego. Idolized several Padre pitchers, and here he is in an all-star game now.
Second in the National League with 124 strikeouts as he misses low, a ball and a strike.
How is it, you talk about working with Greg Maddux, how is it if you're a left-hander with a great changeup and you've got Jamie Moyer on your pitching staff?
Learning from the master. The 1-1. There's a breaking ball in for a strike, 1-2. Hamels is listed at 6'3", 190. But he looks more like 6'5", 170 out there on the mound. And he's another very talented young player of the National League. As the 1-2 swung on and grounded between third and short into left field. A base hit for Rodriguez to begin the 4th inning for the American League. Hamels is another guy you could see making numerous all-star appearances in his career.
Yeah, I mean, the devastating changeup, spots the fastball pretty well, has an improving curveball, and a lot of poise.
By the way, if we look way ahead to the 9th inning, if the National League has a save situation, Tony La Russa says Trevor Hoffman of the Padres will get the ball. And Jim Leland says if the American League has a save situation, J.J. Putz of Seattle will get the ball. Runner is going, got a great jump, swing and a miss by Guerrero, throw down way late. A stolen base for A-Rod.
Guess A-Rod's hamstring's okay, huh?
So, yeah.
Jeez. Worried about the hamstring, and he takes off, and I don't know if he either guessed or he lulled Cole Hamels to sleep, but that was not even close.
And Jim Leland again telling us before the game, the guys who can run, he's going to let them run. On 3-2 pitches, they will run unless it's, say, somebody like Ortiz at first base. Leland doesn't want to get in the way of the game. He doesn't want to clog it up a little bit. They've got minimal signs, as little as they can get by with tonight. So 1-0 National League, top of the 4th. Alex Rodriguez at second, nobody out. And an 0-1 count on Vladimir Guerrero, who grounded out his first time up. Guerrero, the home run derby champion a night ago. He swings and hits the ball hard at the shortstop. Reyes bluffs a throw to second as A-Rod gets back, and then it will throw out Guerrero for the first out. Utley had gotten over to second, and Reyes was contemplating making a play on Rodriguez.
Yeah, A-Rod had a very aggressive lead, and I mean, immediately sized up that play and headed back. So, good base running by Alex right there.
Now Maglio Ordonez of the Tigers hit a fly ball to right field. One of the big reasons why Ordonez has 70 RBIs this year, hitting .440 with runners in scoring position. He's got a man out there now. Pitch from Hamels outside. And Jim Leland feels that Ordonez is using the whole field soup, hitting the ball to right and right center, as well as anybody in the game today.
Yeah, he stays inside the ball, and he's got a lot of pop the other way as well.
The 1-0, swinging a ground ball to short. Backhanded by Reyes. Again, A-Rod gets back. High throw. And Big Prince Fielder gets about 6 inches off the ground to make the catch and lands down on the bag in time for out number 2.
Well, one of the sidelights of this game is who is going to win the most valuable player. Reyes and Ichiro have a leg up, and Reyes is getting tested quite a bit defensively.
2 down and a man at second. And the batter now, Pudge Rodriguez, 0 for 1.
Reyes has been kind of doing his Willie Mays impersonation from the standpoint of creating a lot of excitement on the base paths, and in a close ball game that could prove to be a difference.
Here's the Hamels pitch, and Rodriguez takes the changeup in the dirt for ball 1. For Pudge Rodriguez, his 14th All-Star selection, his 12th start.
That sets the all-time record, eclipsing Yogi Berra's 11. So congratulations to Pudge, and ties Yogi with 14.
The 1-0 is swinging a liner into right field, a base hit. Rodriguez getting the wave around third. The throw from Griffey, a short hop by Martin, and he puts the tag on Rodriguez well before A-Rod gets to the plate. Ken Griffey Jr. has driven in a run, and now he has prevented a run with a strong throw from right field. It remains 1-0 for the National League. You're listening to the 2007 All-Star Game on ESPN Radio, presented by Shell.
Is the 2007 All-Star Game on ESPN Radio.
The 1-0 is swinging a liner into right field, a base hit. Rodriguez getting the wave around third. The throw from Griffey, a short hop by Martin, and he puts the tag on Rodriguez well before A-Rod gets to the plate. Ken Griffey Jr. has driven in a run, and now he has prevented a run with a strong throw from right field. It remains 1-0 for the National League. And that's where we are right now as we go to the bottom of the 4th. Josh Beckett back to work for the American League. Starts David Wright with a breaking ball for a strike. One change for the American League is Justin Morneau with the Minnesota Twins takes over at first for David Ortiz. The 0-1 to Wright, down and away. First All-Star appearance for Morneau. Won the MVP of the American League a year ago, but didn't have that great of a first half. Got unbelievably hot really from mid-June on. But the numbers at the All-Star break were not enough to get him to the All-Star game a year ago. The 1-1, right, a swing and a miss as the ball pops in and out of the glove of Pudge Rodriguez. The count of 1-2.
Danny, one of the keys to that play, a great throw by Griffey, but at short hop, Russell Martin, a former third baseman, made a terrific play on the half hop, and that was not an easy play for him.
Chris Young of San Diego will be the next National League pitcher. CC Sabathia of Cleveland, the next American League pitcher. They're each warming up. The 1-2 from Beckett, and a check swing bouncer foul over near the first base dugout as Wright stays alive.
Well, amazing this year with the Red Sox. Again, Manny Ramirez and David Ortiz not having the astronomical offensive numbers they've had in the past, but with Beckett and Daisuke and Schilling and Wakefield and Tavares having a pretty good first half, plus Papelbon and Okajima, the pitching has carried the day there.
Breaking ball down and away from Beckett, and the count now 2-2 on David Wright.
They've also gotten some great work out of Mike Lowell and Dustin Pedroia, so the Red Sox have done it in different ways this year.
Now the 2-2 on the way, and a fastball in at the belt, inside of the belt, and the count 3-2 on Wright with Prince Fielder on deck. After Fielder, Russell Martin, the next scheduled hitter. Jorge Posada has made his way in from the American League bullpen in toward the dugout, so we may see him pretty soon. The 3-2, a swing and a foul off to the right and out of play. Posada and Victor Martinez, both backups of the American League with 3 catchers.
Victor Martinez suffered a little bit of an injury just before the All-Star break too, so we'll have to see if they keep him in reserve.
The 3-2 on the way, and Wright grounds one off the mound, takes a big hop out to Roberts, the second baseman, and he'll fire it on to first in time to get the Met third baseman 1 down.
Well, one of those mounds that maybe a little higher than usual. We've seen a couple of balls go off that, and maybe Wright lost a hit there because it hit the mound and then carried him straight to the second baseman, Brian Roberts.
Here's Prince Fielder again, second time up for the Brewer slugger. He walked back in the second, the National League leader in home runs and slugging percentage. His dad a right-handed hitter. Prince is a left-handed batter as he takes low ball 1. The stories, of course, when he was 12, 13 years old, to go into Old Tiger Stadium with his dad and hitting long home runs into the upper deck in right field. The 1-0, and it's taken low ball 2. Drafted 7th overall by Milwaukee a few years back. And at the time, Soup, he was north of 300 pounds. And a lot of people said, boy, I don't know if this guy can be a player, but he's down to 260. He's never going to be 220. He doesn't look like, he just doesn't have that kind of body. But he's an MVP candidate at 260 as he swings and rips the ball to center field and deep. Ichiro going back, making it look easy, hauls it in shy of the track for the second out. Let's pause 10 seconds for station identification. You're listening to the 2007 All-Star Game on ESPN Radio, presented by Shell. Back in San Francisco, along with Dave Campbell, John Rooney, Peter Pasquarelli, Dan Schulman with you. 1-0 National League in the bottom of the 4th. Jody Ambrosio on deck with a SportsCenter in-game at the end of this half inning. Russell Martin coming up, one of 18 first-time All-Stars and one of 23 foreign-born All-Stars among the 64 players in the game tonight. And the pitch to him, a fastball there for a strike, 0-1. Martin and Morneau, the 2 Canadians in this game, and Martin just the 3rd ever Canadian to start in an All-Star game, joining Larry Walker and Jason Bay. A total of 7 different countries represented in the All-Star game, including the United States. As the breaking ball from Beckett misses outside, it's 1-1. The only run of the game coming in the bottom of the 1st on a 2-out RBI single by Ken Griffey Jr., cashing in Jose Reyes. The 1-1 and a bouncer foul third base side into the camera bay just beyond the American League dugout. It bounces back out toward the field of play, and the count is 1-2.
Well,
National League, I should say.
If history is any indicator, the Bay Area has hosted 3 All-Star games. 1961, the famous Stu Miller getting blown off Candlestick, and then 1984, Doc Gooden and Fernando pitched great.
1-2, a fastball just high.
In 1987, they played 13 innings in Oakland, and that was a 2-0 game. Tim Raines won that with an extra base hit. Bottom line is, all the games out here have been low scoring.
A bit of a cool night with the flags blowing out slightly toward right field. The 2-2 taken outside and a full count now on Russell Martin.
Everybody remembers the Stu Miller getting blown off the mound, but a lot of people forget the result of that game. Roberto Clemente won it with a walk-off hit at the bottom of the 9th inning.
2 outs, nobody on, and the 3-2 pitch, swing and a foul tip held by Pudge. Martin strikes out and the inning is over. We're through 4 in San Francisco with the National League leading 1-0. The 2007 All-Star Game on ESPN Radio, presented by Shell, continues after these messages from your local station.
Freddie Gonzalez. This is the 2007 All-Star Game on ESPN Radio.
Jody Ambrosio at AT&T Park with the SportsCenter in-game presented by the National Association of Realtors. Regular season resumes with 7 games Thursday, including Seattle home to Detroit. Reports out of the Pacific Northwest say Ichiro is close to signing a $100 million 5-year contract extension. Pittsburgh Penguins of the NHL signed their young superstar Sidney Crosby to a 5-year, $43.5 million extension. And the number 1 pick in the NBA draft summer league season is over. The Trailblazers' Greg Oden has to have his tonsils removed. Top 5 here in San Francisco. Back to Dan Schulman and Dave Campbell.
All I can say right now, better him than me. He'll be back in time for the season. We got to do a game here tonight. 1-0. The National League leading the American League as we go to the top of the 5th. More changes for the National League. Derek Lee has taken over at first base for the NL for Prince Fielder, and Chris Young of the San Diego Padres is into the game. Young was added as the 32nd man via the online vote on MLB.com, and deservingly so. Young with the best ERA in the National League at the All-Star break. It's a double switch, so you can put Chris Young into the 6th spot where Fielder was, and you can put Derek Lee now batting in the 9th spot. The San Diego Padres with 3 pitchers in the All-Star game. And Young, Jake Peavy, who was the starter, and Trevor Hoffman, who, if things go well for the National League, will be the closer here tonight. And Lee going in the 2 spot, not the 9 spot. That's where the pitcher spot was most recently. So put Derek Lee of the Cubs up in the 2 spot in the lineup. Ryan Roberts of the Orioles will lead off the 5th inning, 1-0 National League, as he takes high ball 1 from Chris Young. And Jorge Posada has emerged from the dugout. He's in the on-deck circle right now for the American League. 1-0 is in for a strike, 1-1.
Just wonder at the All-Star game, teammates now both coming into the game at the same time. Wonder if Chris Young and Derek Lee spoke, because they had a little tete-a-tete earlier this year.
Yes, they did. 1-1 is outside ball 2 in a fight between two of the all-time nice guys, quiet guys, good guys in the game of baseball.
And big guys, too.
6'10 versus 6'5. Neither landed a punch despite their respective reaches as the pitch fouled back 2-2.
Well, we know Chris Young. I know you covered him in basketball, played at Princeton, and Derek Lee was recruited at the University of North Carolina. Maybe they were arguing which one of them was the best power forward.
2 balls and 2 strikes. We'll see if they have to combine on some kind of a play here to maybe acknowledge each other. Have they let bygones be bygones? The 2-2 to Roberts, a swing and a foul back. Young came over to deal a couple of years ago with the Texas Rangers and has absolutely flourished in the National League and in the spacious dimensions of Petco Park. Does not throw exceptionally hard. A big, tall guy, ironically, with a bit of a short arm delivery, and his stuff just kind of sneaks up on you. 2-2's a breaking ball in the dirt, 3-2.
Yeah, but I'm just sitting here trying to pick up the baseball coming out of that arm, and he really hides it very well. He leads with a glove. He's got such a high angle, but he doesn't bring that arm way up where the hitter can see it. He does short arm it, but boy, he's coming from such a high angle.
The 3-2, very high, ball 4, and Roberts, who's got good speed, is aboard to begin the 5th. For the American League, the AL trailing 1-0 despite out-hitting the National League 5-3. Here now is Jorge Posada of the Yankees. And Posada is batting for Josh Beckett. Posada is hitting .326 on the season, 9 home runs, 48 RBIs, as Russell Martin heads out to the mound to talk with Chris Young.
Well, Posada, one of the 3 Yankees that really had a good first half with Jeter and A-Rod. But the rest of the Yankees, some of them starting to go now. Matsui really hit well the last week before the break. Looked like Cano was picking it up a little bit, but for a long time it was that trio of A-Rod and Jeter and Posada that were carrying the Yankees offensively.
Batting from the left side against the right-hander Young, who misses high, ball 1. Justin Verlander with the Tigers is warming up in the pen, but CC Sabathia has already warmed up and finished, so we will assume we'll see Sabathia in the bottom of the 5th and Verlander in the bottom of the 6th. There is nobody warming up in the National League pen, and Tony La Russa told us if anybody goes 2 innings tonight for the NL, it would be Young. There's a strike taken by Posada, 1-1.
Well, again, Chris Young has the lowest batting average against in the National League. Hitters hitting .197. He has the lowest ERA in the league at 2. So he's had a terrific first half.
And in the midst of the suspension right now, I believe. He's got 1 more game to serve. Served most of it coming into the break. So as rested, more rested perhaps than any other pitcher. And Tony La Russa talked about that before the game. Roy Oswalt pitched on Sunday. Every other starting pitcher who's in the game for the NL is fully rested, having pitched a few days before. The 1-1 and a swing and a fly ball hit to center field, not deep. And over toward left center is Carlos Beltran to make the catch for out number 1, and back to first goes Roberts.
Well, it looks like Roberts is trying to measure Young. He's taken a couple of breaks towards second base, and Chris has been able to hold the ball just long enough to get Roberts to have to turn back. But if he gets the break he wants, he's going to be off to the races.
Now here's Ichiro, 2 for 2. A ground ball base hit through the right side back in the 1st inning, and then a little flare into shallow left in the 3rd inning. Runner at first, 1 out, 1-0 National League in the top of the 5th. The National League has not won an All-Star game since 1996. And as you know, home field advantage in the World Series, like it or not, is at stake here tonight. Young sets even with a bag at third. David Wright, middle infielders at double play depth, although each are almost impossible to double up as the throw drives Roberts diving back into the bag, and Young and Lee at least showing the ability to play catch with one another on a peaceful basis.
It's the curse of the Cal broken nose. And that's what, the National League has been facing. Tell you about it in a second.
Young sets. Roberts not going, and the pitch to Ichiro hit well to deep right field. Over the head of Griffey, and it's off the wall on the fly, and it takes a crazy bounce back toward right field away from him. Grounding third, heading home Ichiro, and he will score. An inside the park 2-run home run for Ichiro as the American League goes in front 2-1.
Well, this is one of those parks with some very unique nooks and crannies, and Ken Griffey Jr. just found one right there. And Ron Washington, who had a runner thrown out at the plate last inning, did not hesitate. He saw Ichiro turning on the afterburners between second and third and was waving him all the way.
The ball was hit hard, well over the head of Griffey, more toward right center than right field. But there are all kinds, as Sue mentioned, crazy angles, and it appeared to hit the inside of a post, and it just caromed off a banner out there and bounced way to the right, back over toward the right field line, and there was nothing that Ken Griffey could do about it. Ichiro, running hard with his head down the entire way, scored easily. And it's 2-1 American League as Manny Ramirez towels him off in the dugout. Now Derek Jeter is the batter, and he lifts a lazy fly ball to right center. Beltran calls off Griffey and makes the catch for the second out.
I don't have the official results, but I think maybe Ichiro got around the bases faster than what Prince Fielder did on his inside the park home run.
Prince Fielder hit one at the Metrodome earlier this year. So how about Ichiro? 3 for 3 already, including a home run. And we're told Ichiro has just hit the first inside the park home run in All-Star history, as Justin Morneau steps in for his first career All-Star at bat and takes a strike. You never know what you're going to see when you come to the ballpark. The 0-1 to Morneau, a fastball outside.
Just to conclude that story, which I started, and Ichiro had the gall to hit an inside the park homer to ruin the story. See if we can get to it after this pitch.
A 1-1 to Morneau, and a swing and a liner to right field. Charging Griffey. He'll make the catch. The story will have to wait as the inning comes to a close. Not without a little excitement. Ichiro with the first ever All-Star inside the park home run. 2-1 American League going to the bottom of the fifth. You're listening to the 2007 All-Star Game on ESPN Radio, presented by Shell.
It's the 2007 All-Star Game on ESPN Radio.
Bottom of the fifth inning in San Francisco. Dan Schulman, Dave Campbell, John Rooney, Peter Pasquarelli with you here at the 2007 All-Star Game. And Ichiro with a 2-run inside the park home run. Took a crazy carom at the base of the fence in deep right center. And the American League now leads 2-1 going to the bottom of the fifth. Numerous changes for the American League, including Ichiro coming out of the game. Torrey Hunter of Minnesota has gone into center. Carl Crawford of Tampa Bay has replaced Maglio Ordonez in left. Carlos Guillen of Detroit has taken over for Derek Jeter at short. Jorge Posada stays in to catch. And CC Sabathia of the Indians is now in to pitch. Chase Utley, the batter, he takes down and in ball one. Sabathia at 6'7" and 290 pounds, 12-3 with an ERA of 3.58 so far this season. Utley flied out to center his first at bat. Now the 1-0, down and away ball two. A special night for CC Sabathia, who's from the East Bay, from the other side, and had to get about 30 tickets, he told you, last night for tonight's game.
Yeah, he's from Vallejo, and I found out, I did an appearance with Dusty Baker today, that as a 12-year-old kid, he attended Dusty Baker's international baseball camp.
The 2-0 is swinging a bouncer out to second. Bit of a kangaroo hop off the edge of the grass there, but Robert stays with it, and he throws out Utley one down.
Dusty, when he was talking to the 12-year-old Sabathia, he said, "Son, you got to lose some weight." Dusty said he didn't lose weight, he just got taller.
And even his first few years in the majors, people were wondering if he could be the ace the Indians have desperately needed for so many years, as big as he is. And the answer this year has been a definitive yes. Here's Alfonso Soriano getting his first at bat of the game. He'll take a fastball in for a strike. Soriano taking over defensively for Barry Bonds. in a double switch a couple of innings ago. Soriano hitting .309 with 15 home runs for the Cubs, who are making a bit of a move and starting to put some heat on the Brewers in the NL Central. The 0-1, a swing and a ball, well hit left center field. Coming on is Carl Crawford, ranging into the alley in left center to make the backhanded running catch. 2 down. Let's go down to Peter Pasquarelli.
Thanks, Dan. I'm with Derek Jeter, the Yankees, and funny first half for the Yankees, up and down a lot, but it seemed that last week having 2 good series against Minnesota and Anaheim has to help these guys.
Yeah, we played pretty well. You almost wish it wasn't the All-Star break that you can continue it. But, we have a few days off and get ready for the second half. It's going to be a challenge for us, but, I think we have a pretty good team.
And part of the fun is watching other players as teammates. Ichiro going around the bases right then must have been something to watch from your vantage point.
It didn't look like he was even running that hard and still made it easy. So Ichiro's fun to watch. He's not fun to play against, but I enjoy watching him.
Derek Jeter, the Yankees, thank you. Back up to Dan.
All right, Peter, thank you. Jose Reyes, the batter, a 1-0 count on him. 2 outs, nobody on. Bottom of the 5th, 2-1 American League. The 1-0 from Sabathia, swinging a liner into left center field. Hunter's going to have to give chase. He'll backhand it, and Reyes with a big turn then puts the brakes on, and it gets back to first. That's a tremendous play by Torrey Hunter against arguably the fastest man in baseball, holding Reyes to a long single.
Well, it's been the battle of the leadoff men in this one. Ichiro 3 for 3 with a home run and 2 RBIs. Reyes 3 for 3 with a double and some good defensive plays, and they obviously are the forerunners for the MVP award at this point in the game.
2 runs, 6 hits, no errors for the AL. 1 run, 4 hits, 1 error for the NL. Here's Derek Lee of the Cubs getting his first at bat as he takes outside, ball 1.
Well, Derek Lee from the Sacramento area, and Sabathia in the East Bay also, so battle of bragging rights here.
Barry Bonds, by the way, out of the game. He went 0 for 2. The 1-0 is swinging a chopper off the dirt in front of the plate. Easy play back on the mound for Sabathia. He'll throw out Lee, and the inning is over. No runs, a base hit, and a man left through 5 in the All-Star game. The American League leading 2-1. You're listening to the 2007 All-Star Game on ESPN Radio, presented by Shell.
This is the 2007 All-Star Game on ESPN Radio.
Welcome back to San Francisco for the All-Star Game, where the American League leads 2-1. Let's go down to John Rooney.
All right, thank you very much, Dan. I have Prince Fielder of the Brewers with me. 29 homers, 70 RBIs. Prince, out of the 29 home runs, tell us about your inside the park home run.
It was pretty funny. I popped it up and I was kind of mad at first. So, as I'm running first, I saw the center fielder kind of, didn't see it. So, once I got past second, I kind of smelled, maybe a home run. So I just kept trying to run hard, but once I was halfway between third and home, I thought my legs were going to explode. So it was all fun.
How about your first experience as an All-Star?
Oh, it was great, man. I'm just excited to be here, and especially being able to play on the same field with these guys, especially the guys on my team. It's just awesome.
Well, you've had a great first half. Good luck in the second half.
Oh, thank you.
That's Prince Fielder. Back up to Dan.
All right, John. Well, one of Prince's teammates, Francisco Cordero, has entered the game. A 1-0 count on Alex Rodriguez, who now swings and lifts the ball way up in the air to shallow left center field. Beltran and Soriano both there, and it will be Beltran taking charge again. A-Rod is retired. He's 1 for 3. Francisco Cordero has 27 saves already this season and has really had a huge impact, Soup, in Milwaukee being at first place in the NL Central.
Yeah, that was one of the, a big trade by Doug Melvin last year. Cordero had so many great years with the Texas Rangers and then fell on hard times early in 2006, blew a lot of saves. Probably just needed a fresh start, and the Milwaukee Brewers made that deal with the Rangers.
He's the 6th pitcher of the game for the National League. Nobody's gone more than 1 inning for the NL. The pitch to Vladimir Guerrero is swinging a foul off to the right. For the American League, meanwhile, both Dan Herron and Josh Beckett went 2 innings. The American League has gone deeper into its bench than the National League has. A ton of guys left on the NL bench right now, and probably wholesale changes, as they say, coming in the next inning. The 0-1 to Guerrero. He reaches for it and lifts a fly ball to right center field, playable for Griffey. And he'll go back to make the grab. 2 down for Cordero and the National League, with the American League leading 2-1 in the 6th. And here comes Tampa Bay's representative, Carl Crawford. One of those guys that every general manager asks, is he available? Can we get him? Do you need that young pitching badly enough to give him up? And so far the answer's been no. Crawford hitting .285. He's got 51 RBIs and 23 stolen bases. A left-handed hitter he'll take down an away ball 1.
Out of Houston, Texas, and part of that group of great young athletes in Tampa Bay. Unfortunately for the Rays, they went into the break losing 13 out of 14, but they keep getting better players every year. One of these years it's going to turn for him.
1-0. He chases a ball in the dirt, an off-speed pitch from Cordero, and it's 1-1.
I just read something in the paper I wasn't aware of today, that James Shields, the pitcher for the Tampa Bay Ball Club, is first cousins with Aaron Rowan. Didn't know that.
Wow. The 1-1, and a swing and a foul off at the plate. 1-2. We see Johan Santana starting to throw in the pen for the American League. I think that's for an inning from now. I think in the next half inning we're going to see Justin Verlander.
Ron Gardenhire's got the noose out and about ready to put it over Leland's neck and saying, look, Johan's only going 1 tonight. Right. Yeah.
2 outs, nobody on. 2-1 American League leading in the top of the 6th, and the 1-2 pitch, a breaking ball grounded foul up the first base line.
Let's tell you, Gardy, one of the great humor guys in baseball, one of the best managers to deal with as far as the media, and always a sense of humor. And I'm sure Leland looked at him and said, no, I was planning on pitching him 3 tonight. Of course, they're in the same division.
Here's the 1-2, and it's inside. Peter Pasquarelli joking with Tony La Russa before the game of the Cardinals playing the Phillies this coming weekend. Peter said to Tony, Hamill's going to go 5-6 innings tonight for you. And got a smile even from Tony La Russa. 2-2 is fouled back. We'll be in Philadelphia Saturday afternoon and Sunday evening, 3:20 Eastern and then 5:35 Eastern. An early start on Sunday because of the ESPYs. The Cardinals and Phillies a couple of times this coming weekend here on ESPN Radio. The 2-2 pitch is outside, a full count on Crawford.
Of course, the rule now, maximum a pitcher can go is 3 innings. I'd be interested to know the last guy that did it. Originally, in the early parts of the All-Star game, they didn't have that rule. Lefty Gomez pitched 5 one time.
The 3-2 pitch is bounced foul. They've announced the attendance here tonight, 43,965, a record here at this ballpark under any of its names, currently known as AT&T Park.
It's pretty amazing when you got 3 sections roped off for the media in left field.
The 3-2, a swing and a ball well hit. Deep right center field. Griffey turns and watches it go. Carl Crawford with a line drive home run. And the American League ups its lead to 3-1.
Well, a couple of speed burners turned into home run hitters. One of them result of the speed with Ichiro, but Carl Crawford smokes one over that porch in right center field.
And a big smile for Crawford as he's greeted by all of his American League teammates back in that first base dugout. Is the American League going to run its unbeaten streak to 11 games? Carl Crawford with a full count, a 3-2 swing home run to deep right center. Here's Carlos Guillen of the Tigers. He'll take a strike. He got a breaking ball down from Cordero, down below the knees, and he ripped it. A fan reaching out, maybe over, tough to tell, out in deep right center to make a catch on that ball. As the 0-1 grounded sharply out to second, a sliding stop off to his left by Utley, and he'll get up and throw out Guillen to end the inning. But another run for the American League on the home run by Crawford of the Rays. On to the bottom of the 6th, 3-1 for the AL. You're listening to the 2007 All-Star Game on ESPN Radio, presented by Shell.
This is the 2007 All-Star Game on ESPN Radio.
The 3rd annual Don't Give Up ESPYs V Foundation auction now underway on ESPNradio.com. Log on to ESPNradio.com. Bid on one of the many cool items available right now in the online auction. Tomorrow, great experiences auctioned off right here on ESPN Radio. That's ESPN Radio and the V Foundation fighting cancer. The 3rd annual Don't Give Up ESPYs V Foundation auction. Back we go to Dan Shulman.
All right, Jody, bottom of the 6th inning here in San Francisco. Let's quickly go down to Peter.
Thanks, Dan. I'm with Josh Beckett of the Red Sox. Great first half, and right now you're the winning pitcher in this game.
We got a long way to go still. I think we still got 4 innings, so hopefully the guys can hold it right there and maybe pick up a victory.
You come out and Reyes gets a little of a cheap little double, and now you really have to work a little bit to come out of here. That you don't have any time to relax and experience the moment.
I was relaxed out there. It was fun, and that was the main thing, is just really focusing on having fun and not worrying about too much about the results.
Ball club had a little shaky last couple of weeks, not the best of times, but you come into the break with a nice, healthy lead. You have to feel good about yourselves.
Yeah, we just got to keep going out and worrying about ourselves and playing good baseball. We're going to hit, and we're going to pitch. So hopefully we can put it all together and win some ball games.
Josh Beckett, thank you. Ace of the Red Sox, back up to Dan Schulman.
All right, Peter, thank you. Justin Verlander of the Tigers is into the game. 1-0 the count on the Beltran of the Mets as he takes up an away ball 2. Mike Lowell of the Red Sox has come in at third base for Alex Rodriguez, and a double switch again as Lowell goes into the 2 spot. Verlander hitting fourth as he misses down an away ball 3 to Beltran. The American League 3, the National League 1. We're in the bottom of the 6th inning. Verlander, who's got a no-hitter this year, 10-3 on the season, as he pumps in a strike, and it's 3-1. An ERA of 3.14, 97 strikeouts in 109 innings. The 3-1, and there's a swing and a fly ball drilled deep right field off the bat of Beltran. It'll be off the wall and take a big bounce back in toward the infield. Beltran is around second and slides into third ahead of the throw from Vladimir Guerrero with a leadoff triple.
Well, we had a chance to see on replay the home run that Carl Crawford hit last inning. It appeared on the replay that a fan actually reached over into the field of play and made that catch. This time the fan tried to reach over again, a different fan, but they didn't get a hold of this one, and it came off the wall.
And really, Guerrero's inexperience in this park coming into play. One of the crazy angles on the brick wall out there, and that ball hit 6 or 7 feet over to the side of the brick wall where it would clearly carry him back toward the right field line. Guerrero, in a normal park, you'd expect more of a carry him toward right center, and that allowed Beltran an extra base. 3-1 American League, bottom of the 6th. Here's Griffey, 1 for 2, as he swings to the first pitch and pops it out of play off to the left. 0-1. Griffey's got an RBI single and a strikeout, and he's also thrown out a man at the plate.
Verlander got behind Beltran 3-1, and no matter how hard you throw, if you get behind 3-1 and they know the gas is coming, most of the hitters in this game can tune it up.
When Verlander's on, it can get it in there, 97, 98 miles an hour. The 0-1, there's a changeup at 86, and Griffey swings over the top of it. It's 0-2.
Now that is absolutely no fair. That is no fair. A 98 mile an hour fastball and 86 change. And now he's about ready to drop the hammer on him.
Here comes the 75 mile an hour curve, maybe, at 0-2. Let's see if he gives him everything he's got. The pitch. It is a breaking ball, and Griffey's on it as he lines it to right field. Back goes Guerrero. He'll make the catch, and from in front of the track, the throw is not in time as Beltran tags and scores. It's American League 3, National League 2. Griffey with both National League RBIs.
Well, Griffey has come into Barry Bonds' house and has kind of stolen the show. As far as the National Leaguers, he's clearly been the star. He's knocked in 2. He's saved 1 with his arm in the National League in this game just because of his exploits tonight.
Ichiro, perhaps the biggest star of the night, 3 for 3, including the 2-run inside the park home run, the first in All-Star history. 1 out, nobody on, 3-2 American League, bottom of the 6th, and here's David Wright, 0 for 2. And the pitch swung on and fouled off to the right. Matt Holliday of the Rockies has emerged in the on-deck circle. He will bat for Francisco Cordero, if my scorecard is not betraying me. You with me on that, sir?
Let me just look.
It's that time of the All-Star night. Pitch to right,
yes.
And down and away, 1-1.
Pitcher's hitting in the 6th spot. That's correct.
That last fastball by Verlander, he missed with it, but it was clocked at 99 miles per hour. Here's the 1-1 to right, and a swing and a broken bat looper into center field, a base hit. Part of the bat is on the infield grass off on the shortstop side of the mound. The rest Wright tossed away as he ran down to first. Those hands have to be stinging right now after that base hit.
Well, it's just a good thing they are not playing this game in the Midwest in April, because it was very cold back there, and David Wright would be having some real issues. Yep. Remember, he can steal a base now, and the National League is just down by 1.
Wright is 16 for 17 stealing bases on the season. Here's Matt Holliday, who put on a good show in the home run derby last night and has put on a great show for the Rockies all season, hitting .341 with 15 homers and 69 RBIs. Pitch is a fastball on the outside corner for a called strike.
Verlander, you don't have to run up in the box to hit Verlander, do you?
Well, you want to get back. You want to get behind the catcher and the umpire. Get yourself as much time as you can as he chases the ball down and away. A slider there to look like from Verlander. The count 0-2.
Snapdragon. No fair. Guy's been sitting over there for 3 hours and he has to go up and try to hit this stuff.
Second All-Star selection for Holiday of the Rockies. The lead at first by Wright. And the 0-2, a fastball outside. Hideki Okajima of the Red Sox has joined Johan Santana of the Twins in the pen. Jim Leland still has at his disposal Jonathan Papelbon, Francisco Rodriguez, and J.J. Putz. The 1-2 and a check swing and a breaking ball down and away. 2 balls and 2 strikes. The ball came up and hit the catcher Posada, bounced up the first baseline a few feet, but the runner right holds his ground.
Remember in Chicago back in 2003 when the National League had a 3-run lead and they got to the 7th inning and they had John Smoltz, Billy Wagner, and Eric Gagne to finish it up, and the American League still came back and won that game. Never got to Smoltz.
Hank Blaylock, that game?
Yep.
2-2 and a breaking ball high as Holiday checks the swing and it backs out with a look on his face like, man, I'm doing everything I can and I'm just barely hanging in here in this at bat. But he has worked it full, and we'll see with the 3-2 count and 1 out if David Wright is going to be running. They're down 3-2, the National League. There goes Wright, and the pitch is screamed foul off to the right, up into the back couple of rows of the lower deck.
Memory serves me, I think Garrett Anderson hit a 2-run homer off Wagner, and then Blaylock hit the game-winning home run off Gagne, and John Smoltz, who was going to close, never got to the mound.
The American League leading this one 3-2 in the bottom of the 6th. Wright assumes his lead again at first as Verlander sets. There goes the runner, and again the 3-2, and it's hit sharply down to first, knocked down by Morneau. He'll pick it up and step on first for the out. Right into second on the play now with 2 down.
Well, that was a good play by Morneau because that ball was scalded by Holiday. But Morneau was able to knock it down, keep it in front of him. That ball gets past him, and with Wright running, he's going to at least get to third base.
And now here comes Russell Martin again. Tony La Russa, maybe it's just his philosophy, maybe it's coincidence, maybe it's because they're trailing, is sticking with his starters longer than Jim Leland. Beltran, Griffey, Wright, Martin, Utley's out in the on-deck circle. Reyes still in the game. 6 of the 8 position players who started the game for the National League are still in the game right now.
Yeah, well, Tony's philosophy a little bit different than Jim's, and both of them very close friends.
Runner at second, 2 down, and Russell Martin swings and lines one down the right field line, but it slices foul deep into the corner. Had that been fair, that would have tied the game. Wright is the tying run out at second base with 2 down here in the bottom of the 6th. Now we get a replay of a police officer working deep down the line, tried to get out of the way of that ball, and got up against the wall where the stands are and wound up moving right into the path of the ball and got hit on the back of the leg. Martin has lined out and struck out in his first All-Star appearance. The 0-1 is in the dirt and knocked down by Posada. There's still all kinds of talent on the National League bench. Brian McCann, Aaron Rowan, J.J. Hardy, Orlando Hudson, Dimitri Young, Freddie Sanchez, and some guy named Albert Pujols has yet to play in this game. And you know Tony La Russa will save him maybe for a key pinch hitting spot late. The 1-1, a swing and a jam shot, a little pop-up on the infield. Roberts, the second baseman, is there, and he'll make the catch. Martin, the Dodger, booed when he came up, then booed when he couldn't drive in the run. That's the way it goes when you're a Dodger in San Fran. Through 6, the American League leads 3-2. You're listening to the 2007 All-Star Game on ESPN Radio, presented by Shell.
Is the 2007 All-Star Game on ESPN Radio.
Welcome back to San Francisco. The American League leading 3-2 as we go to the top of the 7th. Let's go down to John Rooney.
All right, Dan, and the 2 runs for the National League have been driven in by Ken Griffey Jr. of the Reds. Ken, are you having as much fun with this All-Star Game as you appear to be showing here?
Well, yeah. You know, you come out here and, you know, everything's for the fans, and to go out there and give them a show, this is what it's about. And I had a couple opportunities to drive somebody in, and it worked out for me. But today is, even though it's a little chilly, it's been a great day.
And how about the throw to get A-Rod at the plate?
I think that's the first time I threw somebody out at home from right field. So I'm going to hear about it tomorrow when I see the guys.
Damn, way to go. Thanks so much for the visit, and good luck in the second half.
Thank you.
That's Ken Griffey Jr. Let's go back upstairs.
All right, John, thank you. Great night for Griffey. Brian Roberts leads off the inning for the American League and has taken ball 1 and now ball 2 from a new pitcher, Takashi Saito of the Los Angeles Dodgers. We have numerous National League changes. Here's the 2-0 to Roberts of the Orioles, and a fastball in for a strike, 2-1. Matt Holliday stays in the game in right field. Evan Rowan has taken over for Carlos Beltran in center. Freddie Sanchez of the Pirates is now at third base for David Wright. The 2-1 to Roberts, a curveball for a strike, 2-2. Orlando Hudson of Arizona is now in at second base for Chase Utley, and Brian McCann of Atlanta has taken over for Russell Martin of the Dodgers. We'll set the batting order when time allows. The 2-2 from Saito is a breaking ball low and a full count. Saito has a 1.47 ERA this year. He has 23 saves. He's walked 4 and struck out 47. What a sensational year for him. The 3-2 and a high fastball is fouled back. And we see Japan well represented. Ichiro, Saito, and Hideki Okajima all in the All-Star game.
Now, Japanese broadcasters are right next to us, and they got awfully excited when Ichiro was circling the bases on that inside the Parker.
The first ever in All-Star history. 3-2 American League 7th inning. And the 3-2 from the right-hander Saito, a fastball grounded out to second. Orlando Hudson, a 2-time Gold Glove Award winner, plays it on to first, and Roberts retired 1 down. Orlando Hudson will go into the 3 spot in the lineup. Aaron Rowan 4th, Freddie Sanchez 5th, Brian McCann 7th, and Saito 8th. And again, Sanchez, who was the third baseman for Pittsburgh last year, is playing predominantly second base this year. But Miguel Cabrera of the Marlins, who pinch hit earlier, has a sore shoulder, not able to play defense. So Tony La Russa asked Sanchez to play third base tonight. Hudson still a backup at second base for Utley. Here is Jorge Posada, who swings at the first pitch and fouls one off down the left field line out of play. Johan Santana appears to be the guy who's going to work the bottom of the 7th inning for the American League. The AL leading 3-2. We're in the top of the 7th with 1 out and nobody on. The 0-1 to Posada. He's late on the fastball as he sends it foul out of play off to the left. 0-2. There are still a handful of position players who have not been in the game. 3 for the National League, 4 for the American League. And a slew of pitchers, especially for the American League. Each team with 20 position players and 12 pitchers entering the game. Fastball from Saito, way inside, about thigh high. 1-2. The count on Posada. Saito with a typical, if you will, hesitation in his delivery, as a lot of Japanese pitchers do. A nice relaxed delivery, nothing overly violent about it, but boy, the ball gets on you in a hurry. The 1-2 and a breaking ball lined softly down to first and caught by Derek Lee for the second out.
Not exactly sure that the Dodgers knew what they had when they got Saito, because last year he began in the minor leagues pitching in Las Vegas for him, and since he has come on, he has been a wonder kind for him.
2 outs, nobody on, and here's Torrey Hunter of the Minnesota Twins to get his first at bat of the night. Hunter always enjoying himself, having a great time in this, his second All-Star game. First pitch, a swing and a miss on a slider, 0-1, and a memorable moment in his first All-Star appearance.
Yeah, in Milwaukee, robbing Barry Bonds of the home run, and then Barry running all the way out to center field in between innings to hoist Hunter up and yell, "What are you doing to me?"
Here's the 0-1. And a swing and a ball lifted way up in the air on this cloudy night here in San Francisco. Coming in, the left fielder Soriano will make the catch. And the inning is over as a very light drizzle begins to fall now here at AT&T Park. 7th inning stretch. The American League 3 and the National League 2. We're going to turn you over to Rennell, the PA announcer here at AT&T Park.
And here now to perform God Bless America, please welcome Grammy Award-winning singer-songwriter Ms. Paula Cole.
And back here at AT&T Park, a bit of a delay as Paula Cole, who is going to be singing God Bless America. They are just getting the keyboard set up out on the field so that she can be accompanied during her rendition of God Bless America. The American League leading the National League 3-2 on this cool and now somewhat slightly drizzly night here in San Francisco as the American League tries to run its unbeaten record in All-Star games to 11. The crowd now growing slightly restless. The game must go on, but we are having technical difficulties with the keyboard down on the field, preventing or at least delaying the singing of God Bless America here during the 7th inning stretch. And it appears now that it's all been sorted out and we can continue.
I'd like to dedicate this to all the men and women around the world in uniform. Here's wishing for their safety. God bless America, land that I love. Stand beside her and guide her through the night with light from above, from the mountains to the prairies, to the oceans, wide with foam. God bless America, my home sweet home. God bless America, my home sweet home.
This is the 2007 All-Star Game on ESPN Radio.
Welcome back to San Francisco. Bottom of the 7th inning, the American League 3, the National League 2, as we go to Peter Pasquarelli.
Thanks, Dan. I'm with Hall of Famer Al Kaline, Mr. Tiger, and I thought it was a great thing that Jim Leland asked you to come along. This must be a great couple of days for you.
It's been really a lot of fun. Yeah, I really appreciate the fact that Jim asked me to come here, and I really enjoy coming out here to San Francisco and being on the bench and being with these guys, these great ball players, well, on both sides, really. And of course, to see, in my opinion, the greatest ball player to ever live, Willie Mays. What a great entrance he made tonight.
That was pretty moving. You know, it's interesting to me, too, that they say modern players don't care about this, but all these guys that have been taken out of the game, they're still hanging around watching the end of this game and supporting their teammates.
There's no question that they're very close inside. I'm amazed. I'm not on the field quite often, but in the locker room this couple of days, they're really close. There's a lot of friendships there, and of course, they want to win this game.
Great. Well, thanks for spending some time with us, Al. Back up to Dave Campbell, your favorite player, Dave Campbell, Al Kaline, with us tonight.
My dad's favorite, too,
Yeah.
so you got that in common. 3-2 American League. Bottom of the 7th. Johan Santana is into the game now to pitch for the American League. The Minnesota Twins star, two-time Cy Young Award winner Carlos Lee of the Astros has come up to pinch into the pitcher spot and hit the first pitch down the right field line. It dropped untouched in foul territory near the bullpen and bounced out of play. So an 0-1 count on Carlos Lee to lead off the 7th. Santana rocks into the windup, but a swing and a ball hit high and deep down the left field line. Distance is not a problem, but keeping it fair is. El Caballo a little bit out in front, and it's 0-2.
Johan Santana takes a deep breath and gets a reprieve on that ball. Looked like Carlos got a little bit too much top hand on it, and the ball was hooky.
One other change for the American League. Grady Sizemore of the Indians has taken over in right field right now for the AL. The 0-2, a high fastball. So how about this range in the outfield for Jim Leyland trying to protect a one-run lead? Carl Crawford in left, Torrey Hunter in center, Grady Sizemore in right. The 1-2 and a swing and a miss at a ball in the dirt. Posada picks it up and applies the tag on the backside of Lee for out number 1.
Well, a lot of managers like to use the no doubles defense when they have a lead, but it helps when you have guys like this to prevent those doubles.
Billy Wagner now throwing in the pen for the National League. Jonathan Papelbon standing on the bullpen mound for the American League. We mentioned Jim Leyland told us before the game if the American League were to have a save situation, it would be J.J. Putz of Seattle getting the 9th. He's still got Papelbon and Francisco Rodriguez at his disposal. Here's Alfonso Soriano, and he bounces one foul, 0-1. Let's pause 10 seconds for station identification. You're listening to the 2007 All-Star Game on ESPN Radio, presented by Shell. Here's the 0-1 to Soriano when he fouls it off. To our right, 0-2. Soriano's second at bat. It's 3-2. The American League leading the National League in the bottom of the 7th. The biggest play of this game, a 2-run inside the park home run by Ichiro back in the 5th. The first inside the park home run in All-Star history. The 0-2 and Soriano hits one softly and foul up the first baseline to stay alive.
Well, Jim Leyland trying to get his first win as an All-Star manager. He was on the losing end in Colorado in 1998. Tony La Russa trying to be the first manager ever to win an All-Star game in both leagues. There's been several have tried, but nobody's done it. Nobody's won in both leagues yet.
The 0-2 is there for a strike taken. And I don't think it was a changeup. It looked like a little slider or a cut fastball, and it just froze Soriano. Wasn't what he was looking for. And it's back-to-back strikeouts for Santana.
Well, Johan not used to coming out of the bullpen, but certainly is getting the job done so far. Here's the offensive star for the National League tonight, Jose Reyes.
Getting his 4th at bat of the night, and he's 3 for 3. 2 singles and a double as he pulls one foul. So we haven't seen J.J. Hardy of Milwaukee in at shortstop just yet. Reyes 3 for 3. Ichiro the inside the park home run. Ken Griffey Jr. has driven in both National League runs and has also thrown out Alex Rodriguez at the plate. It's been an entertaining ball game here tonight. The 0-1 to Reyes, and he swings and pulls a ground ball to short. Backhanded by Carlos Guillen, and a strong throw to first to get the speedy Reyes by a step. And the inning is over as Santana takes care of the National League in order. Through 7 at AT&T Park, the American League leading 3-2. The 2007 All-Star Game on ESPN Radio, presented by Shell, continues after these messages from your local station.
This is the 2007 All-Star Game on ESPN Radio.
Welcome back to AT&T Park for the All-Star Game. Dan Shulman, Dave Campbell, John Rooney, Peter Pasquarelli, Joe D'Ambrosio, and a cast of thousands here in San Francisco. A very good game here tonight. The American League leading 3-2 as we go to the top of the 8th inning. And the new pitcher for the National League, New York Met reliever Billy Wagner, 1-0 with a 1.64 ERA and 17 saves on the season. He will face Mike Lowell of the Red Sox, Justin Morneau of the Twins, and Grady Sizemore of the Indians. Lowell getting his first at bat of the night. And Wagner's first pitch, a fastball there for a strike, 0-1. Lowell this year hitting an even 300, 14 homers, and 63 RBIs. 3-7-0 for the AL, 2-6-1 for the NL. The 0-1, a slider lined into left center. That's a base hit for Lowell. Racing over into left center is Rowe, and he'll backhand it and fire it back in, and Lowell would be content with a leadoff base hit.
Well, Billy Wags has used that slider to great effectiveness this year, but that time he hung it right in the middle of the plate, and Lowell, a great mistake hitter.
Here's Morneau. This will be a tough matchup for Morneau against the hard-throwing lefty with a good slider as well. Morneau's second at bat of the night, hit a fly ball to right field back in the 5th inning. Jonathan Papelbon is throwing in the pen for the American League. The pitch from Wagner, and it's a fastball that comes in low, ball 1. Morneau, the reigning MVP in the American League, and he's having a better so-called first half this year than he did last year. Not even close, really. 24 homers, 74 RBIs so far this season. The 1-0 and a swing and a high pop-up back of third. Freddie Sanchez of the Pirates racing down the line into foul territory, up on the mound, or where the catcher sets in the bullpen in foul territory without losing his feet or his concentration, makes a terrific catch.
Yeah, good play by Freddie. And again, he's been playing a lot of second base this year, but asked to play third base with the injury to Miguel Cabrera, the scheduled backup.
So great play by Sanchez. Morneau retired, and now Grady Sizemore will get his first at bat of the night. Just came on defensively an inning ago, hitting .280 with 15 home runs. He's got 24 steals, second best in the American League. Another left-handed hitter against the lefty Billy Wagner. And the pitch, a slider in for a strike.
Good job by Bruce Fleming tonight. Hadn't had too many fish eyes from either the pitchers or the hitters, so that's usually a pretty good indication the home plate umpires had a good evening.
37th year working in the major leagues, 37th and perceived final year for Bruce Fleming. A short lead at first by Lowell. And the 0-1, a fastball for a strike, and Wagner's out in front of Sizemore, 0-2.
Good morning and good afternoon. And Billy Wagner's going to try to say good night right here.
Wagner throwing the ball as well as he has in a couple of years right now. 3-2 American League, top of the 8th inning, runner at first, 1 out. And the 0-2, a swing and a miss, and a fastball up around the shoulders of Sizemore, overmatched by Wagner, 2 down.
Well, that was officially good night right there, as Sizemore nearly screwed himself in the ground.
And now we're going to have a pinch hitter in Johan Santana's spot. It looks like Victor Martinez, I believe. Victor Martinez of the Indians is going to come out to pinch hit. So the only 2 remaining position players for the American League, Michael Young of Texas and Alex Rios of Toronto.
National League's got 3 left: J.J. Hardy, Albert Pujols, and Dimitri Young.
I got to believe Albert's going to find his way into the game at some point.
I suspect.
Especially if they're down a run, although no matter who he's hitting for, unless the pitcher spot comes up, he'll be hitting for somebody good, but he's still Albert Pujols. Martinez batting from the right side against the lefty Wagner. And the pitch, a fastball a little bit inside, ball 1. Wagner's got some nasty stuff tonight. It's moving. It's coming in with a lot of velocity. He's throwing the slider for strikes. Martinez with a big season, 324, 16 homers, 68 RBIs. 1-0 down and in ball 2. And again, we don't see them every day, but the general consensus is improved defense this year for Victor Martinez.
Yeah, and one of the things that happened in spring training this year, the Indians really set their sights on having their pitchers work on holding runners better and give Victor a chance to throw some guys out. He was a little bit unfairly maligned last year. A lot of the pitchers didn't pay too close of attention to the base runners.
Wagner shakes off Brian McCann, his catcher right now, with the 2-0. A fastball hit deep to left field, headed for the bullpen and gone. Victor Martinez with a line drive, 2-run home run off Billy Wagner. And the American League expands its lead to 5-2 here in the 8th inning.
Well, you and I were talking before the game about some of the all-stars that don't seem to get as much appreciation as others. And Victor Martinez, a guy who is taking a real slow trek around the base paths right now and touching the plate, enjoying the moment. He's certainly a guy who's put up some terrific numbers the last couple of years.
And some breathing room now for the American League. They trailed 1-0 until the 5th, but now here in the 8th, they have gone on top to the tune of 5-2. The batter is Carl Crawford. Crawford of the Devil Rays homered in his first at bat. 1 for 1 tonight as he fouls one back. So all 5 runs for the American League have come in on home runs. A 2-run shot by Victor Martinez, a solo shot by Carl Crawford, and a 2-run inside the park home run that got the American League offense going back in the 5th. That from Ichiro. The 0-1, and it's a slider in the dirt, a ball and a strike.
Well, the American League's in the same position the National League was back in 2003. We talked about, although one inning later, but you know, with a bullpen rested and very able, they're going to have a 3-run lead at least to work with.
And it looks like it'll be Papelbon in the 8th, and then possibly Putz of Seattle in the 9th.
And if you get in trouble, you get K-Rod back behind you, so Francisco Rodriguez. So pretty formidable task for the National League at this point.
1-1 pitch is down and away, 2 balls and a strike. The American League has taken the lead and now expanded upon it here in the 8th inning as a strike is taken by Crawford and the count is 2-2. They were down 1-0, led 2-1, then 3-1. The National League got a run back in the bottom of the 6th to make it 3-2. The Martinez home run has made it 5-2 here in the 8th. The 2-2 and a fastball chopped toward short. Reyes still in the game as he throws to first and gets Crawford by a step to end the inning. But a 2-run home run by Cleveland's Victor Martinez has made it 5-2 American League going to the bottom of the 8th. You're listening to the 2007 All-Star Game on ESPN Radio, presented by Shell.
Is the 2007 All-Star Game on ESPN Radio.
Bottom of the 8th in San Francisco, the American League leading 5-2 as we rejoin Peter Pasquarelli.
With Victor Martinez, just hit a pinch hit home run, and Victor, that ball was really crushed. That a Billy Wagner fastball?
Man, you know, that's a guy that really throws hard, and you know, I went out there looking for the fastball, and you know, the first 2 pitches were you know, in off the plate, and I was like, you know, I don't think he's going to throw me any off beat, so you know, I made sure that I get the head out.
What kind of thrill is this, come into an All-Star game and hit a home run your first at bat?
Man, I'm right here, and I still can't believe. I mean, I'm like another fan right here.
Okay, well, good luck. Second half. Thanks for joining us. Victor Martinez, back up to you, Dan.
All right, Peter, thank you. That's nice to hear. A player says like a fan. He's just excited to be here. Victor Martinez helping the American League to a 5-2 lead. Derek Lee leads off the bottom of the 8th. Jonathan Papelbon is the new pitcher. The first pitch was taken for a strike, and now one is fouled back, so it's 0-2 on Derek Lee. Papelbon, working as the American League setup man tonight, has a 1.93 ERA and 20 saves on the season. Trevor Hoffman is now warming up in the National League pen, so it appears he'll pitch the 9th, whether the National League rallies or whether they're still trailing. 5-2 for the American League in the bottom of the 8th here at AT&T Park. The 0-2 to Derek Lee, and a fastball fouled off to the right, headed for the upper deck. Lee came on in the middle innings and has grounded out in his one at bat. After Lee, it's Orlando Hudson and then Aaron Rowan. Remember, Albert Pujols still on the National League bench. We expect to see him when the pitcher spot comes up, which will likely be in the 9th. The 0-2 and a swing and a fly ball to center field, shallow. Charging Torrey Hunter. It drops in front of him for a base hit. Lee got jammed, and he's rewarded for that jam shot with a leadoff single.
Well, National League looking for anything to try to get a couple of runners on and bring the tying run to the plate.
Hunter was playing fairly deep, raced in, has very good range, as you know, but had no opportunity to make a play on that ball. And now here's Orlando Hudson. This is his first All-Star selection. This is his first at bat. Came on an inning ago defensively, hitting .296 on the season. Has won a couple of Gold Gloves in his career, one with Toronto, one with Arizona. Switch hitter batting from the left side. He fouls one off, 0-1.
Well, the American League has been pounding the strike zone of late. They began the game only with 7 of 21 first pitch strikes, but the last 9 hitters have seen a first pitch strike.
Mike Lowell a step behind the bag at third. Justin Morneau holding on Derek Lee at first. The middle infielders at double play depth. The outfielders play Hudson to hit the ball the other way. Papelbon sets. And the 0-1 to Hudson. Swing and a miss at a splitter in the dirt, 0-2.
Yeah, that's the old equalizer. That's the pitch of the last 10 to 15 years, that split finger pitch. That has neutralized some pretty good hitters. Tony Gwynn always said that was the toughest one for him to pick up.
Roger Clemens still using it a ton. Maybe more than he ever has. 0-2 the count on Hudson. And the pitch, fastball, and Hudson is late on it as he fouls it back, checking the bat as that pitch was in on his hands, and make sure that he didn't chip his bat at all.
Well, Roger Craig, who was a former Giant manager, was one of the men who came up with that pitch and taught it to Mike Scott, Houston Astros. He was one of the first guys back in 1986 to use it with a lot of authority.
5-2 for the American League. We're in the bottom of the 8th inning. And the 0-2 pitch on the way. A swing and a foul back below us as they grapple for it in the first row of the deck immediately below us. And two guys each tried to reach out for it. Neither one of them made a catch, and it dropped down into the lower set of seats.
Well, people below are appreciative. The guys right now are kind of going, hey, man, guy's got his glove on, everything, and missed it.
Papelbon gets the sign from Posada. A little Red Sox Yankee thing going on here. Derek Lee is running. Swing and a miss by Hudson. He's gone. Posada's throw from his knees is not in time. Derek Lee into second. So a runner at second, one out now for the National League, down by 3 in the bottom of the 8th.
Here comes Aaron Rowan with his first at bat. Read today where Aaron was planning on a little 3-day soiree in Las Vegas, a little vacation. All of a sudden was very happy to change his plans and come to San Francisco.
Hitting .310 with 11 home runs, a pending free agent at the end of the year. Right-handed batter facing Jonathan Papelbon. American League bullpen quiet. Trevor Hoffman warming in the National League pen. Rowan from the Philadelphia Phillies. The first pitch from Papelbon, a fastball inside of the belt, ball 1. For the American League, Dan Harmon went 2 and gave up a run. Josh Beckett then went 2 innings. Sabathia pitched an inning. Verlander gave up a run in his inning. Santana worked the 7th, struck out a couple. Now Papelbon here in the 8th. For the National League, Jake Peavy an inning. Brad Penny an inning. Ben Sheets, Cole Hamels, each an inning. Chris Young gave up 2 runs in his inning on the Ichiro inside the park home run. Francisco Cordero went an inning. Pitch to Rowan is a 96-mile-an-hour fastball just outside. Cordero gave up a run in his inning. Saito a scoreless inning, and then Billy Wagner touched up for 2 on the Victor Martinez home run in the top of the 8th.
Some wags have Aaron Rowan perhaps going back to the White Sox when he becomes a free agent. He was a member of that World Championship team in 2005 and then was traded for Jim Thome.
Papelbon sets, and the 2-0. A swing and a ball sliced down the right field line. Foul out of play. There seems to be some mutual affection between Rowan and the White Sox, and they're still looking for an everyday center fielder. Darren Erstad has been troubled by injuries. They've had to try a couple of other options.
They thought Brian Anderson was going to be the answer, and so much so that they traded Chris Young, another prospect, to the Arizona Diamondbacks.
Freddie Sanchez of the Pirates on deck. The 2-1 to Rowan. A swing and a foul off to the right. It's 2-2. If the American League wins, it'll run their unbeaten streak to 11. And granted, one of those was the tie in Milwaukee a few years back. But it would match the longest unbeaten streak that either league has ever had. The National League had an 11-game unbeaten streak as well. Back in a stretch when I think they won, was it 19 out of 20 at one point?
Yeah.
Back in the 60s, 70s, and early 80s, right?
1962 through 1982. 19 out of 20. And one game the American League won was the one in Detroit in 1971 with all the home runs, especially Reggie's.
2-2, fouled off and out of play to the right again. You had the big red machine in that era, some great Dodger teams in the 60s, some great Cardinal teams, outstanding pitching in the National League all through the 60s. But now it's the American League that's been on a roll in all-star games, certainly in interleague play. 2 balls, 2 strikes on Rowan. 5-2 for the American League. We're in the bottom of the 8th. Runner at second for the National League, and 1 out. Papelbon sets, and the 2-2. Fastball outside and off the glove of Posada. Bounces away to his right, and Derek Lee will advance to third on what should be scored a pass ball.
Well, I'm firmly convinced, and Peter Pasquarelli and John are down in the dugouts, and I know that both of them can feel the desire to win, but it used to be back in the 60s and 70s when the National League came, they had one thing in mind, that was to win the game from the time they showed up in town. Now it's kind of well, we got the home run derby. What party are we going to tonight? And then, oh, by the way, when they show up here, now we're going to play hard and we want to win. But I don't think the focus is quite as intense as it was in those days.
Full count pitch on the way to Aaron Rowan. The 3-2 from Papelbon. Swing and a miss and a high fastball as he blows it by him, 2 down. Just as Francisco Rodriguez starts throwing in the American League pen, just in case Papelbon runs into more trouble here in the 8th.
Well, Rowan got 3 fastballs in the at-bat, but never could catch up with him, and finally Papelbon won that battle.
Here's Freddie Sanchez of the Pirates getting his first at-bat of the night. The batting champion in the National League last year, hitting .296 this year. This is his second All-Star selection. And the pitch from Papelbon, a fastball hit in the air to right center field, plenty playable. It will be the center fielder, Hunter, in front of the right fielder tonight. Center fielder normally Grady Sizemore. Hunter makes the catch and the inning is over. We're through 8 at AT&T Park. American League 5, National League 2. The 2007 All-Star Game on ESPN Radio, presented by Shell, continues after these messages from your local station.
This is the 2007 All-Star Game on ESPN Radio.
Top of the 9th inning here at AT&T Park in San Francisco. Dan Shulman, Dave Campbell, John Rooney, Peter Pasquarelli. Glad you're along with us for the 2007 Major League All-Star Game from AT&T Park. The American League leading the National League 5-2. As we go to the top of the 9th, a couple of changes for the National League. J.J. Hardy of Milwaukee in at short for Jose Reyes. And Trevor Hoffman, baseball's all-time saves leader, is into the game now just to try to hold him and to keep the National League down 3 runs. And the first batter of the inning for the American League, Detroit shortstop Carlos Guillen, takes a strike. Hoffman with 25 saves this year. He's baseball's all-time leader in saves with 507. Guillen's second at bat of the night, grounded out a couple of innings ago as he takes it low. 1 ball, 1 strike.
Well, if the National League could find a way to tie this thing, Jim Leyland is not going to run out of pitchers. He's still got a whole host of them down in that bullpen.
It appears the changes were straight up, so we'll set the bottom of the 9th for you after this pitch. The 1-1 to Guillen, just low for ball 2. Matt Holliday of Colorado, Brian McCann of Atlanta, and then the pitcher spot, which would likely be Albert Pujols, who has not appeared in this game. And then after that, Soriano and Hardy, should it get that far. They're down 3. The 2-1, and Guillen swings and grounds the ball to the right side. Good range by Hudson, ranging to his right, and from closing in on second base, he'll make the throw back to first to get Guillen for the out. And that will bring up now Brian Roberts of Baltimore, who's had a chance to play quite a bit with Polanco. And the plan was this, to get him on at bat and then get him out of the game because of the sore back. Roberts has walked and scored and grounded out. He came into the game in the 3rd inning.
Rick Hudson won the Gold Glove in the National League last year. He had struggled a little bit defensively this year, but he certainly showed good range there.
Roberts hitting .322 on the season for the Orioles. 5-2 American League, top of the 9th, and Hoffman misses low, ball 1.
Well, the Orioles, with Eric Bedard and Daniel Cabrera, all of a sudden now looking like they, Jeremy Guthrie, all of a sudden their pitching staff looks like it's for real, and you got to get that stabilized, and then you can make a move.
Fastball in for a strike, 1-1. Bedard, the Major League leader in strikeouts at the All-Star break.
Yeah, by quite a few, I think.
Coming off a 15 strikeout effort in his last performance before the break. Hoffman, the 3rd Padre pitcher to appear in this game, as a swing and a miss at a changeup there, and it's 1-2. And it wasn't exactly where Hoffman normally puts it, more in and around the knees rather than away and even lower than that. 1 ball, 2 strikes, 1 out, nobody on. 5-2 AL, top of the 9th, and the pitch, a swing and a ground ball down to first. Big hop for Derek Lee, and he'll feed Hoffman in the bag for out number 2. J.J. Putz of the Seattle Mariners is warming in the pen. Francisco Rodriguez is there as well. Jim Leyland told us before the game that if they had a save situation in the 9th inning, Putz would be the guy to get the job. Even though you could easily say Papelbon or Rodriguez, they're both more experienced, especially K-Rod. They're all having great seasons. But Jim Leyland feeling that Putz is having the best season of them all and deserves the 9th inning. Here's Jorge Posada, and he fouls a changeup off to the right. It's 0-1.
Well, I got to believe that K-Rod's throwing for a reason, though. So maybe Leyland brings him in for 1 out, and that creates a non-save situation all of a sudden for J.J. Putz. But it may be just the thrill of letting Putz finish the ball game. But it looks to me like he's going to bring in K-Rod for an out or two.
0-1 the count on Posada, who's 0 for 2 tonight. And the pitch, a fastball high. I guess the only risk you run is if K-Rod does his thing and then Putz comes in and struggles. Yeah. And then you got to go to somebody else. Now he's still got Bobby Jenks,
Okajima,
Gilmesh, John Lackey. He started, so he's still got some options down there. The 1-1 is taken low, ball 2. And again, the scheduled hitters for the National League in the bottom of the 9th: Matt Holliday of the Rockies, Brian McCann of the Braves, and then the pitcher spot, which will likely be Albert Pujols. Posada waiting, in the 2-1 from Hoffman. A fastball there for a strike, 2-2.
Where are we going to have our annual ceremony after the game tonight? The ceremonial burning of the scorecards. They turn into a real mess about this time.
Yeah. Back to routine regular season scorecards on the weekend as Posada takes a changeup low, full count. Will be in Philadelphia Saturday afternoon and then Sunday evening for the Cardinals and Phillies here on ESPN Radio. An early start on Sunday. 5:35 broadcast start, first pitch shortly after 6 because of the ESPYs Sunday night.
You and I up for anything in the ESPYs?
Not that I've heard. Okay. 3-2 and a swing and a ball golfed in the air to center field and deep. Rowan racing back to left center, and it's over his head and off the wall on the fly, and Posada is into second base with a long double as we go down to Peter Pasquarelli.
Thanks, Dan. I happened to be eavesdropping as Jim Leyland was talking with Francisco Rodriguez before this half inning, and basically he wanted him to stay loose, as Leyland was saying, just in case, which seems to mean that Putz probably will start the inning and K-Rod would be the emergency guy if somehow he got in trouble. But I think we'll see J.J. come in to start the inning.
All right, Peter, thank you. Good eavesdropping down there in the American League dugout. K-Rod's been an All-Star before, has pitched in All-Star games before. This is Putz's first time in an All-Star game. Torrey Hunter of Minnesota, the batter, and he'll take a fastball for a strike. Why Putz? How about an ERA of 0.88 and a batting average against of 129? 41 innings, 17 hits this year, 24 saves for Putz. One of the big reasons why the Mariners are in contention both in the West and for the wild card. The 0-1 and a swing and a little number foul that winds up just behind the plate. The count 0-2 on Torrey Hunter. Home runs tonight for the American League for Ichiro, Carl Crawford, and Victor Martinez. Ichiro's an inside the park 2-run homer back in the 5th. That gave the American League at the time a 2-1 lead. It's 5-2 right now in the top of the 9th. Hoffman comes set, and the 0-2, a fastball fouled off, and Bruce Fleming got the worst of that. The 37-year Major League veteran. I don't know if I got him maybe on the left forearm. We'll have to wait for a replay, but Brian McCann's going to go out to the mound and buy Fleming a little bit of time. As that foul ball hit him up on the left bicep, it looked like Torrey Hunter got Bruce Fleming flush.
Yeah, for Bruce, he was having a terrific night, and he still had a good night behind the plate, but this certainly takes a little shine off it because that one's going to sting all night long.
Still got a grimace on his face behind the plate. Now puts the cap and about to put the mask back on.
Bruce, over 5,000 games umpired, and that's probably about the 2,000th hit he's taken on one of his arms.
Been in 5 World Series. This is 3rd All-Star game, 37th year in the big leagues. All right, he signals play back in as Hoffman comes set, and the 0-2 to Hunter. A changeup in the dirt, blocked by McCann.
Bruce, he usually fires the ball back to the pitcher. He just kind of gently lobbed that one to Brian McCann. Said, "You do it, big boy. I can't throw right now."
Even behind the mask, all we can see are his eyes and his nose, but you can see just a little bit of a crinkle, just a little bit of a grimace on the face of Bruce Fleming. Hoffman sets again, and the 1-2 change up low. 2 balls, 2 strikes. American League hitters aren't biting on the changeup right now, at least the last two, Posada and Hunter. A 5-2 lead for the American League, out hitting the National League 10-7. And the AL's got all 3 homers. Ken Griffey's driven in both runs tonight for the National League. The 2-2, a fastball fouled off to the right as Hunter hanging in there with Trevor Hoffman.
Well, Hoffman was on the mound last year, 2 outs, nobody on, and then all of a sudden, ground ball, seeing eye single, double into the left field corner, burned on 3rd and 2nd. Then Michael Young tripled to right center field, and the American League snatched victory from the jaws of defeat.
2-2 changeup is low. Full count on Hunter now. Mike Lowell next should the inning continue.
Well, Hunter's more than any hitter I've seen in a long while. Really seems to have a read on that changeup of Hoffman's, and Trevor with that great arm speed, but Torrey's not been biting on it.
Now Hoffman sets the 3-2 and a fastball grounded down to 3rd. Freddie Sanchez has it, and he'll throw across the infield for the out. We'll go to the bottom of the 9th here at AT&T Park. The National League coming up trailing 5-2. You're listening to the 2007 All-Star Game on ESPN Radio, presented by Shell.
This is the 2007 All-Star Game on ESPN Radio.
Bottom of the 9th in San Francisco. Dan Shulman, Dave Campbell, Peter Pasquarelli, John Rooney, the Major League Baseball All-Star Game. A 5-2 lead for the American League as we go to the bottom of the 9th inning and in to try to lock it up for the AL and ensure home field advantage for the American League. Again in the World Series is Seattle closer, right-hander J.J. Putz. We gave you his numbers last half inning, but they bear repeating. An ERA of 0.88. 17 hits allowed in 41 innings, 24 saves on the season. Matt Holliday of Colorado is the batter, and he swings and fouls back the first pitch of the inning, and Bruce Fleming got hit again, and he got hit very close to the spot that he got hit by Torrey Hunter last half inning. Oh man, he got hit within an inch of where he got hit in the top half. And poor Bruce Fleming. Going out, and at least from an all-star perspective, with some bruises to show for it. Going out in a blaze of glory right here. This has not been an easy inning for Bruce Fleming.
Jorge Posada went out to talk to J.J. Putz to give Bruce a little bit of a breather. Then Jorge came back, and I think he asked Bruce, do you need me to go back out again?
J.J. Putz in his all-star debut. A big right-hander with nasty stuff. The 0-1, a fastball at 95, swung on and missed by Holliday, and it's 0-2.
Wonder if Bruce is going to. Bruce sets up on the inside corner. I wonder if he's going to take a little more of a tuck position behind Jorge Posada. I think I would.
Puts his MO to stare at the ground and then to lift his head up enough, just enough, to see the catcher's sign. You can barely see his eyes peering out from under the bill of his cap. The 0-2, and there's a splitter low that Holliday takes. 1 ball, 2 strikes.
Closing has become an art form, and there's, all kinds of subtleties, and one of them is don't let them see your eyes. Pull the bill of the cap down and just kind of height.
Puts a 6th round pick of the Mariners back in '99. The 1-2, a high fastball swung on and missed. Holliday is gone, 1 down. The American League 2 outs away from winning again. Here comes Brian McCann of Atlanta, and it's Dimitri Young of Washington who has come out in the on-deck circle. We still haven't seen Albert Pujols. And maybe Tony La Russa is not planning on using him. Maybe he will use him only if the tying run comes to the plate. Maybe he would hit a little bit later on for, who knows, J.J. Hardy perhaps. Don't know what Tony La Russa is thinking right now, but they got to get a couple of base runners on before any of this becomes meaningful.
Part of it be, I think this might be Dimitri's first All-Star game, or at least the first at bat.
Here's Brian McCann, 5-2 American League, bottom of the 9th, and the pitch, a fastball fouled back, and it's 0-1. Getting his first at bat of the night. Russell Martin got 3 at bats as the starting catcher. Put staring into Posada, shakes him off a couple of times. Now straightens up with the sign. McCann waiting, and the 0-1, and it's a hard splitter taken low, a ball and a strike. 88-mile-an-hour pitch that dives down towards the dirt.
Brian McCann. We have 3 sons of coaches, college coaches in this game. Brian's dad used to coach at Marshall. Brian Roberts' dad used to coach at, I believe, University of North Carolina, and Matt Holliday's dad was a coach at Oklahoma State for, don't know if still is or not.
1-1 is lined hard, but a foul down the right side into the seats, and the count of 1-2.
McCann's dad now has a hitting academy in Atlanta, so I'm sure his son is Exhibit A.
Got a pretty bright future, 23 years old. This is his second All-Star game already. For Dimitri Young, this is his second All-Star selection, but he does not have a prior All-Star at bat. He'll get one here tonight. The 1-2 to McCann, and a fastball fouled out of play down the left field line. And, you know, whoever happens to be in the on-deck circle, you hope your first and maybe only career All-Star at bat isn't one that ends the game.
Yeah.
You know, takes a little bit of the fun out of it. Well, that might be the way it's shaping up for Dimitri Young in the National League.
Well, Dimitri is really probably one of the comeback stories of the year. Was released last year, had all kinds of personal off-the-field problems, got his life together in the offseason. Jim Bowden gave him a chance with the Washington Nationals, and he's made the most of it. He had one of the hot streaks in baseball this year, going 35 for 68 at one time.
The 1-2 and a swing and a pop-up for the shortstop, Carlos Guillen of the Tigers, makes the catch. McCann retired, and the National League down 3 runs. Down 5-2. They're now down to their final out. And here comes Washington's Dimitri Young, hitting .339 on the season. So if it ends here, we have a handful of players, as always, who will have not gotten into the game. Albert Pujols has not appeared. National League pitchers Roy Oswalt and Brandon Webb were kind of the holdback guys if the game went to extra innings. Jose Valverde of Arizona has not been in. Michael Young of Texas and Alex Rios, the position players for the American League, who have not appeared. Young, a switch hitter, batting from the left side against the right-hander puts. Posada setting a low target in the first pitch, a fastball inside, ball 1. American League pitchers who have not appeared: Bobby Jenks of the White Sox, John Lackey of the Angels, Gil Mesh of the Royals, Hideki Okajima of the Red Sox, and Francisco Rodriguez of the Angels. 2 outs, nobody on. 5-2 American League. And the 1-0 to Young. A swing and the ball fouled off to the left.
Of course, Dimitri's younger brother Delman is one of the bright stars in that Tampa Bay stable of great young athletes. Delman been on the disabled list, just coming back. And he is part of that group.
Yep. If Young can somehow get on, Alfonso Soriano would be next, and then J.J. Hardy is batting in the spot which would be the game's tying run. But they've got some work to do against an awfully tough pitcher to get there. 1-1 the count. And the pitch, fastball swung on and missed. 1-2, a late swing, and Young smiling as he backs out of the box. He knows he was simply overpowered on that last pitch.
Dimitri likes to spray the ball around and put that one right on the inside corner.
Many of the fans now standing and applauding just the effort, the performance, the entertainment here tonight. The National League down to its final strike. 5-2 American League leading. And the 1-2, a fastball hit in the air but out of play off to the left.
Tried to come right back in Dimitri's kitchen there. He was able to fight that one off just a little bit.
Got a feeling it's going to be the splitter coming now after a couple of fastballs?
Yeah, I mean, you pound fastballs in to try to get him to speed up his bat. The only thing is, I think he can go either way. I mean, he didn't really catch up with that fastball. He just fought it off.
If the American League wins again, home field for the AL in the World Series again, and they'll run their unbeaten streak in the All-Star game to 11. 10 wins in the tie back in Milwaukee. 1-2 the count, and the pitch, a fastball grounded to the right side. Roberts knocks it down on the outfield grass, but can't make a play on it as he ranged far to his left. Young is aboard, and this game isn't over just yet.
Well, Dimitri gave him a good battle and was able to fight balls off, and Brian Roberts couldn't come up with it. Had he, I think he could have gotten Dimitri at first base.
It'll be scored, a base hit for Dimitri Young. So the batter will be Alfonso Soriano of the Cubs, who has flied out and struck out. The tying run is in the on-deck circle, and right now that on-deck circle is occupied by J.J. Hardy of Milwaukee, with one bat on the National League bench, and that bat belongs to Albert Pujols. Puts against Soriano, and the pitch, a fastball for a strike. Assuming Albert is physically able to play, there's no reason to think that he's not. Do you think there's a change? Do you think he gets up there?
No.
No,
I don't think he's going to hook Hardy without letting him have at least an at bat.
Wood sneaks a peek at the runner. They're playing behind Young at first base. Don't care about his run. And the 0-1 taken down and away. A ball and a strike on Soriano. Hardy just came on an inning ago. Jose Reyes went 8 innings, got 4 at bats in this game, had 3 hits.
But JJ's not one of those guys who is rapid fire. He's going to take his time between each delivery.
Again, the same routine between every pitch, looking down to the ground and sneaks a peek up to the catcher, slowly straightens up. The 1-1 is up and in, ball 2.
Really has not had real good command of that splitter. Left that one way up in the zone. So Soriano, a great fastball hitter. I think he's going to sit all dead red right here and try to whip one.
Dimitri Young at first. Justin Morneau playing behind him. 5-2. The American League leads. We're in the bottom of the 9th with 2 outs for the National League. Soriano up and a 2-1 count on the Cub outfielder J.J. Hardy of the Brewers. The tying run in the on-deck circle right now. Hopeful for an opportunity. The pitch. Look out. Fastball up and in. Ball 3. And remember, Francisco Rodriguez was warming before, the just-in-case guy for the 9th inning. He is not visible right now down in the bullpen. Will he get up again? Or will Jim Leland allow Putz to try to get out of this? And just as we speak, K-Rod now slowly walking up the steps at the far end of the dugout. The 3-1. And a swing and a fly ball, pretty well hit to deep right field. It is gone! An opposite field 2-run home run for Alfonso Soriano. And the National League is back within a run with 2 outs here in the bottom of the 9th.
Well, you let a guy get ahead 3-1, know what's coming. You give him a lot more chances to do something big. So Soriano going the other way. Didn't hit it in the cove, but he hit it over that short porch in right field.
And it's not over yet as Soriano and Young head down into the National League dugout to a stream of high fives. Chuck Hernandez, the Tiger pitching coach, is coming to the mound to talk with Putz. K-Rod is warming up in earnest right now in the bullpen down the right field line for the American League. J.J. Hardy is the next hitter for the National League with Derek Lee on deck.
Well, when you have 2 devastating pitches, you can be very effective. But Putz, since he has come into the ball game, has not really thrown a sharp splitter. And the National League hitters have certainly realized that.
Hardy will bat. John Rooney telling us there's no sign of Albert Pujols anywhere in the National League dugout. So here's Hardy, the Milwaukee shortstop, his first career All-Star at bat. And the first pitch from Putz is low, ball 1. Hardy early on in the year for a while was actually leading the National League in home runs. He's got 18 right now, tied for 5th in the NL, hitting .280 on the season. K-Rod looks ready. Can Putz get out of it? A 3-run lead is down to 1 here in the bottom of the 9th, but the National League is down to their last out. The 1-0 fastball there for a strike at 96 miles an hour. It's 1-1.
Located well there on the outside corner.
Derek Lee looking very relaxed in the on-deck circle, leaning on his bat. Putz bent at the waist, looking down to the ground, and now gradually up towards his catcher, Jorge Posada. He comes set. And the 1-1 to Hardy, a breaking ball or a cut fastball perhaps that missed just outside. Very close pitch. And the count 2-1 now on Hardy as Putz has gone over 20 pitches in the inning. If it holds up, Josh Beckett wins it and Chris Young loses it. Everybody on each team up on the top step of their respective dugout. The 2-1 and a fastball away, ball 3. And I don't know if Putz gets a chance to face Derek Lee if it comes to that.
Well, he's got to come to Hardy again here, and J.J. knows he's going to get a fastball.
Jim Leyland consulting with Gene Lamont, part of his coaching staff in Detroit in the American League dugout. Mike Lowell a step closer to the line on the third base side of the field. Jose Valverde has now started warming up for the National League. The 3-1 down and away, ball 4. The tying run is at first base with 2 outs in the bottom of the ninth. The winning run is coming to the plate. Derek Lee of the Chicago Cubs. Posada out to the mound to talk with Putz. Leland on the top step, took a step, then stopped, and now here he comes. And he is headed right for Bruce Fleming. So we're going to have a double switch here. This game is not over yet. The National League not willing to concede defeat. Putz is coming out, and K-Rod is going to be coming in. Alex Rios of the Blue Jays will also be coming in on the double switch. We'll give you all the details and get back for the rest of the bottom of the ninth in a moment. This call to the bullpen is brought to you by Geico. 15 minutes could save you 15% on car insurance. Visit us at geico.com or call 1-800-947-AUTO. Bottom of the ninth, American League 5, National League 4. You're listening to the 2007 All-Star Game on ESPN Radio.
Is the 2007 All-Star Game on ESPN Radio.
The 3-1 and a swing and a fly ball pretty well hit to deep right field. It is gone. An opposite field 2-run home run for Alfonso Soriano, and the National League is back within a run with 2 outs here in the bottom of the ninth. So it's 5-4 for the American League, and after the home run by Soriano, J.J. Hardy walked. That was all for J.J. Putz. And now into the game, Francisco Rodriguez, the Angel closer, getting booed because they remember the Angels and K-Rod beating the Giants in the World Series in 2002. Derek Lee is the batter. He's the winning run with 2 outs in the ninth. The first pitch from K-Rod, a fastball outside, ball 1. Double switch. Torrey Hunter came out of the game. Grady Sizemore's moved from right to center. And the Blue Jays' Alex Rios has now gone into right. Derek Lee tonight is grounded out and singled. The 1-0 and a fastball grounded down to third, just foul. Mike Lowell was playing over near the line and backhanded the ball and would have had a play at first, but it was just foul, and the count is 1-1. Now looking at the All-Star Game media guide, there is no record of Francisco Rodriguez having pitched in a game. He has certainly been to the All-Star Game before.
Well, he's got himself in a safe situation now. There's no question about that.
Rodriguez, his second All-Star selection, but did not pitch in his first one. Trying to lock it up here for the AL. The lead at first by Hardy being held by Morneau, and the 1-1, a check swing and a breaking ball in the dirt. The appeal to first, so there's no appeal. Bruce Fleming didn't even grant it. So Posada's asking for the appeal, and Bruce Fleming says, my arm hurts, and it's not a swing, and leave me alone. 2 balls and a strike now on Derek Lee, and it shows you how nasty the slider by K-Rod is. That ball bounced a foot in front of the plate and a foot in the other batter's box, and Derek Lee almost went around.
Yeah, I mean, it's a very difficult pitch to pick up with that arm speed and arm angle.
2-1 the count. 5-4. American League, bottom of the ninth, 2 outs and a man at first. K-Rod sets. And the pitch to Derek Lee. A breaking ball for a strike, 2-2. That was a different kind of a slider from K-Rod. Instead of down and away hard, slower and more, 12-6 and over the inside corner. Derek Lee thought it was inside, but it's called a strike, and it's 2-2.
Well, you know, Derek Lee was sitting and hoping fastball, and Posada and K-Rod were not going to give in.
K-Rod sets again. Again, they're down to their final strike. The 2-2 pitch, slider down and away, 3-2. Now Morneau looks into Jim Leland to find out where he wants him to play. Leland tells him to stay on the bag and hold the runner. But Hardy will still get a bit of a running start. On their feet here at sold-out AT&T Park in San Francisco. Lee staring out to the mound. K-Rod shakes off Posada. Now gets the sign he's looking for. The 3-2 pitch and a breaking ball fouled off by Lee. And it was a good low pitch, too, just below the knees.
Now, K-Rod is going to throw breaking balls probably about 90% of the time, but you still have to respect the fastball because he's got a good one.
On deck, Orlando Hudson of the Arizona Diamondbacks. And again, the only available National League hitter, the only guy who's not been used is Albert Pujols, and he's nowhere to be seen right now. Everybody standing in the ballpark. Again, the 3-2, and did he go this time? The appeal to first, and no, says Charlie Relaford, as he held up on another slider in the dirt. And Jim Leland is screaming at Charlie Relaford, the first base umpire. Hardy to second, Lee to first, and here comes the man affectionately known as the O-Dog, Orlando Hudson.
Well, again, Derek Lee really having trouble checking his swing on a pitch in the dirt, but because of that arm speed and arm angle of K-Rod, it's very difficult to pick up.
So first and second, 2 down, 5-4 for the American League. In the bottom of the ninth, and the batter is Orlando Hudson, batting from the left side. He struck out last inning in his first ever All-Star at bat. The pitch from K-Rod, a breaking ball in the dirt, ball 1. In the outfield for the American League, should it come to this, should there be a base hit and a play at the plate on Hardy, Carl Crawford in left, Grady Sizemore in center, and Alex Rios in right. I would think Rios has the strongest arm of the three, and he's stretching it out right now. He just came into the game this inning. K-Rod snaps a peek back at the runner with the 1-0. A fastball way inside at the knees, almost hit him. That's ball 2.
Well, this could be role reversal. We talked about 2003 with that dominating bullpen the National League had, and the American League whipped up on it. So far, Putz couldn't get the job done, and K-Rod is struggling.
Jim Leland pacing, and he looks like he's managing in a playoff game right now. The 2-0 pitch in the dirt, ball 3. It gets behind Posada, but just a couple of feet. And K-Rod is a pitch away from loading the bases. That would bring Aaron Rowan of the Phillies to the plate. 2 runs in here in the bottom of the ninth for the National League on the home run by Alfonso Soriano off J.J. Putz. Then Putz walked Hardy. Then K-Rod came in and walked Derek Lee. Now he's 3-0 on Orlando Hudson. Hudson will be taken. The 3-0 is there for a strike, a fastball, and it's 3-1.
Well, K-Rod doesn't like to throw the fastball in fastball counts, but against a guy that's not considered a home run hitter, he may be forced to right here because he cannot control his breaking ball very well.
High drama here in the bottom of the ninth. First and second, 2 outs. The 3-1 in the dirt, ball 4. The bases are loaded. K-Rod shaking his head at himself in disgust. He's walked his only 2 batters. The tying run is at third. The winning run is at second. And here comes Aaron Rowan.
Well, here comes Chuck Hernandez out for a visit, but there's nobody warming in the American League bullpen, so K-Rod's got the ball. And Aaron Rowan, who didn't think he was going to be named to the All-Star team, was. It is, and he's the man of the moment.
While we have a moment, we'll quickly pause 10 seconds for station identification. You're listening to the 2007 All-Star Game on ESPN Radio, presented by Shell.
The biggest names, the best talent. This is Sports Radio 560 WQAM, Miami, Fort Lauderdale.
Back for the bottom of the ninth here in San Francisco. The AL5, the NL4. The NL has scored twice this inning. The bases are loaded on walks. There are 2 outs. Aaron Rowan of the Phillies facing Francisco Rodriguez of the Angels. And the pitch. Fastball right down the middle for a strike. A violent delivery as always for K-Rod, and fell off hard to the first base side even more awkwardly and even in a more pronounced fashion than he normally does.
Well, Aaron Rowan's not going to see a better pitch to hit. He was either going to decide to take a pitch or he was looking breaking ball, but whatever. He got a fastball right down the horn.
Rodriguez sets. And the 0-1, another fastball that swung on and hit in the air to right field, fairly deep but playable for Alex Rios, and the American League wins again. They survive in the bottom of the ninth and hang on to win 5-4, running the American League's unbeaten streak in the All-Star game to 11 and clinching home field for the AL champion in the World Series.
Well, the National League gave him a fight to the finish. It looked like it was going to be a pretty routine win, but, Dimitri Young got an infield hit. Soriano hit the home run to right field, and then things got very interesting as the American League pitchers couldn't find home plate, but K-Rod finally secures it with a fly ball out.
And he will get the save. The win goes to Josh Beckett of the Red Sox, the loss to Chris Young of the Padres. There were 4 home runs hit in the game. Ichiro, Carl Crawford, and Victor Martinez for the American League. Ichiro's was an inside-the-park home run, the first in All-Star history. Alfonso Soriano homered for the National League in the bottom of the ninth, but the NL comes up 1 run short in a very entertaining game here tonight in San Francisco. The American League wins 5-4. A crowd of 43,965, a packed house, the largest ever crowd to see a game here at AT&T Park. Enjoyed this one, although they were rooting for the National League. They got a little excitement from Barry Bonds. He went 0 for 2, but one of his fly balls went to the warning track. The time of the game was 3 hours and 6 minutes. 5 runs, 10 hits, no errors for the AL, 4-9-1 for the NL. Peter Pasquarelli standing by with the winning manager.
Jim Leland, that ninth inning was a little more scary probably than you would have liked.
Yeah, with those guys going out there in the ninth, that usually doesn't happen. But this, big stage, puts through the ball good, too. They blooped the one hit in. So we held on, we won it, we're happy. It's a great night.
It's impressive to me. I don't know if it's to you that most of the players stay around and root for their teammates even when they're out of the game.
Yeah, they did. All the guys were out there. I was real proud of them. They were very responsive. They're very cooperative. I mean, I just couldn't ask for a better group of guys. It's an honor to manage this team.
And you got the home field advantage if you get back there this year in the World Series.
A uniform in our clubhouse is going to the World Series. I hope it's ours, but you know what? Whichever uniform it is, I'm glad we got the advantage for it.
Jim Leland, American League manager, thanks a lot.
All right, Peter, thank you. And again, you could see Jim Leland. We could see on our monitor the way he was pacing and yelling in the dugout in the ninth inning suit. It looked like he was managing a World Series game. He was really into it.
Well, I mean, he wants, he's representing his league, and he takes that seriously. And, he knows that there's no such thing as a cakewalk. He had J.J. Putz, the best reliever so far this year, but he did not have it tonight.
So the American League wins 5-4 in a very exciting game. We're still awaiting the announcement of the MVP of this game. I don't know if we should tell who we voted for or not, if we were in the majority or the minority, but it seemed a pretty clear-cut case when we made our vote. Things got a little more interesting later on in the game, and it is the man we voted for. Ichiro has won the MVP. He went 3 for 3, including the 2-run inside the park home run back in the 5th inning that gave the American League a lead they would enjoy right to the finish, although it got a little bit hairy for them in the bottom of the ninth. So tonight's Uniroyal Tires MVP award goes to Ichiro of the Seattle Mariners. To find the MVP of your daily commute, visit Uniroyal.com. Uniroyal, for everything you value. A very fun night here in San Francisco. A cool night, a little bit of rain just for a few minutes in about the 7th inning as the fans very slowly start to make their way out of the stadium. I think many of the folks who are probably here for both events, as that happens in every All-Star city, and probably thoroughly enjoyed both events, the Home Run Derby last night and the All-Star game here tonight, as we head back down to the field and rejoin Mr. Pasquarelli.
Thanks, Dan. Carl Crawford, a big home run that turns out to be the winning run, and that's going to be a heck of a thrill in your scrapbook.
Oh, yeah, I'm always remember that. I wish I could have got the ball back, but I'm always remember this day.
You come up cold a little bit. You haven't been up, and you're going against a guy who's pretty tough, Cordero. Somebody you probably have seen before, though. That might have helped a little bit.
Yeah, it helped a little bit, but you just want to try to help contribute to the team any way you could.
it's good to see, too, that the guys that are out of the game, they stay back en route. This still means something to Winfield League, doesn't it?
Oh, yeah, definitely. You know, some of these guys really want this because their team is going to be impacted by this. So, you know, it's definitely important to stay back and root for the team.
Kyle Crawford of the Tampa Bay Devil Rays, big hit. Thanks a lot. Back to you, Dan.
All right, Peter, thank you. And congratulations to Ichiro, named the MVP. The American League winning 5-4 tonight. Tonight's game has been brought to you by Shell. Shell, made to move. And by Goodyear, get there. We'll be back to wrap it up. And Jody Ambrosio is standing by for the Baseball Tonight postgame show. Again, the final from AT&T Park in San Francisco. The American League 5, the National League 4. You're listening to the 2007 All-Star Game on ESPN Radio.
Is the 2007 All-Star Game on ESPN Radio.
Young sets. Roberts not going, and the pitch to Ichiro hit well to deep right field. Over the head of Griffey, and it's off the wall on the fly, and it takes a crazy bounce back toward right field, away from him. Rounding third, heading home, Ichiro, and he will score. An inside-the-park two-run home run for Ichiro as the American League goes in front, 2-1. An easy choice tonight for our great play of the game, brought to you by Symetra Financial. Log on to ESPNradio.com for the Great Play of the Game Challenge. Win an iPod Shuffle or a 5-night trip to the Marriott Dalmahoy Golf Resort and Country Club in Scotland. Reach for great things with Symetra Financial. We invite you to join us again this weekend at 3:20 Eastern Time Saturday and 5:35, a little bit earlier than normal, on Sunday here on ESPN Radio. It will be the Cardinals and the Phillies right here on your home for the Saturday game of the week, Sunday night baseball, and every game of the postseason. Major League Baseball on ESPN Radio. Check your local listings for broadcasts in your area or log on to ESPNradio.com for more information. That's going to do it for us from San Francisco. Ichiro is the MVP. The American League wins yet again, beating the National League 5-4. A thrilling bottom of the ninth as the NL left the bases loaded and lost by 1 run. For Dave Campbell, John Rooney, Peter Pasquarelli, Jody Ambrosio, Ivan Sokolsky, Beth Faber, John Martin, Al Rosenberg, Craig Davidson, and whoever else I may have forgotten, I'm Dan Shulman saying so long from the booth. Now let's send it back down to the field. Here is Joe D with the Baseball Tonight post-game show. Joe D, it's all yours.
All right, Danny, thanks. Great job by you and Soup. John Rooney, Peter Pasquarelli are with me. We will analyze the American League's 5th straight win in the All-Star Game next. You're listening to the Baseball Tonight post-game show live from the 2007 All-Star Game in San Francisco on ESPN Radio.
This is the 2007 All-Star Game on ESPN Radio.
Welcome back to the Baseball Tonight postgame show. I'm Joe D'Ambrosio with John Rooney and Peter Pasquarelli. Our game recap brought to you by the National Association of Realtors. Realtors adhere to a strict code of ethics, so you know you'll be treated honestly. Ask your agent if they're a realtor, a member of the National Association of Realtors. It was Jake Peavy against Danny Herron, the Oakland A's right-hander, and the National League got to him in the first. Jose Reyes led off with a single, stole second, and after 2 out, Ken Griffey Jr. stepped to the plate.
Aaron checks the runner, and the 2-2 pitch, a swing and a ground ball off the mound and into center field. A base hit, around third and in to score is Reyes. Ken Griffey Jr. with an RBI single, and the National League takes a 1-0 lead.
His 6th All-Star Game RBI, and John, obviously, Reyes, the table setter, using his speed in the first inning to get a run.
I mean, what a night he had. A single, a stolen base, scored that run. He ended up with 3 hits before he gave the National League quite a show tonight, and he gave a lot of problems to the American League pitching staff, as he will the second half of the season, but he set the table.
And it was Reyes again in the bottom of the third off Josh Beckett, a squib double past Alex Rodriguez at third base, and Barry Bonds stepped to the plate for the second time.
Beckett sets. He deals, and a swing and a fly ball hit to left field. Ordonez back on the track, reaches up and makes the catch a few feet in front of the fence. That got everybody here at the ballpark to their feet, but Bonds leaves it a few feet short. He's retired. Reyes stays at second.
his last at bat of the game, Peter, but with the reception he received, if that ball had gone out of the park, it doesn't have a roof on this place, but it might have blown the roof off.
It would have been something, but, Beckett pitching out of trouble in that inning I thought was a big part of the game because, National League gets a little confidence there, grabs the lead back. It could have been a little interesting for them in the middle innings, and Beckett did a good job of stranding Reyes in that inning.
Top of the fourth against the Phillies, Cole Hamels, the Rodriguez tried to get the American League tied. Alex Rodriguez singled and stole second, and with 2 out, left it up to Pudge Rodriguez.
The 1-0 is swinging a liner into right field, a base hit. Rodriguez getting the wave around third. The throw from Griffey, the short hop by Martin, and he puts the tag on Rodriguez well before A-Rod gets to the plate. Ken Griffey Jr. has driven in a run, and now he has prevented a run with a strong throw from right field. It remains 1-0 for the National League.
And John, as Junior told you in the dugout during the game, first time he's thrown anybody out from right field.
He said, finally, I got somebody out from right field, but I think he enjoyed that as much as he did driving in the 2 runs.
Then, top of the fifth against the Padres, Chris Young, the 5th National League pitcher, Brian Roberts, led off with a walk, and then with 1 out, Ichiro Suzuki stepped to the plate.
Young sets. Roberts not going, and the pitch to Ichiro hit well to deep right field. Over the head of Griffey, and it's off the wall on the fly, and it takes a crazy bounce back toward right field away from him. Rounding third, heading home, Ichiro, and he will score. An inside the park 2-run home run for Ichiro as the American League goes in front 2-1.
First All-Star game inside the park homer, Peter. Only the 3rd in this ballpark since it opened. And as soon as that ball bounced away from the outfield, Ichiro put the pedal to the metal.
It was automatic. And Andy Van Slyke, who's the first base coach there, and the Tigers' first base coach, told me between innings, he was just gliding as he rounded first. He saw that ball touch base and go by Griffey. He said he went into the gear I've never seen before outside of Indianapolis.
So the American League takes the lead, and with 2 out in the top of the 6th, they expanded it when Francisco Cordero faced the Devil Rays, Carl Crawford.
The 3-2 is swinging a ball well hit. Deep right center field. Griffey turns and watches it go. Carl Crawford with a line drive home run. And the American League ups its lead to 3-1.
And, John, it just seems like the long ball has been a big key to the American League's success in this winning streak against the National League.
And Carl Crawford, a member of a young, talented team, but he's a veteran on that Tampa Bay Devil Ray team. He brings speed, he brings good outfield play, and there he brought power to the All-Star game.
Bottom of the 6th, National League got within 1. Ken Griffey Jr. with a sac fly off Justin Verlander after a Carlos Beltran triple. We stayed that way till the top of the 8th. 2 out, 1 on for the pinch hitter, Victor Martinez, against the Mets, Billy Wagner.
Wagner shakes off Brian McCann, his catcher right now, with a 2-0. A fastball hit deep to left field, headed for the bullpen and gone. Victor Martinez with a line drive, 2-run home run off Billy Wagner. And the American League expands its lead to 5-2 here in the 8th inning.
Kind of interesting, Peter. 2 guys off the bench for the American League play a long ball, kind of typical of the kind of depth they have now in that league.
Right, and as Dave and Dan were saying, Billy Wagner looked like he had great stuff tonight, and he's had great stuff for the most of this first half. And Victor Martinez just turned around that fastball. One of the most underappreciated great run producers in baseball.
And there's a Cleveland Indian catcher hitting a home run in an All-Star game going back to '97 when Sandy Alomar gave the American League a big home run in a year where it was Cleveland's season for at least the American League before they bowed out to the Marlins. But we've seen Victor Martinez hit line drives like that before. This guy's a good hitter from both sides of the plate.
First pinch hit homer in an All-Star game since Hank Blaylock's bottom of the 8th game winner in 2003 in Chicago. So we went to the bottom of the 9th, 5-2. No Rivera, no Nathan. Papelbon had pitched the 8th. Jim Leyland went with J.J. Putz from the Mariners. He got the first 2 men out. Dimitri Young reached on a single, and that brought up the Cubs' Alfonso Soriano.
The 3-1. And a swing and a fly ball, pretty well hit to deep right field. It is gone! An opposite field 2-run home run for Alfonso Soriano. And the National League is back within a run with 2 outs here in the bottom of the 9th.
American League still up 5-4, but Putz walked J.J. Hardy. Jim Leyland had seen enough brought in Francisco Rodriguez, who walked Derek Lee on a 3-2 check swing. And Peter, it's safe to say that Mr. Leland was not happy with the call on the check swing.
Well, you know, it's an exhibition game up until maybe the 7th inning, and sitting in the dugout, it got pretty noisy when they called that pitch a ball. You heard about 10 guys at the top steps screaming at the first base umpire, Charlie Relaford, and set up a pretty dramatic ending.
And it wasn't just because they had flights ready to go home. So men on first and second, and then K-Rod faced the Phillies' Aaron Rowan.
And the 0-1, another fastball that swung on and hit in the air to right field, fairly deep, but playable for Alex Rios, and the American League wins again.
So the American League wins at 5-4. We'll look ahead to the second half of the season next, when the Baseball Tonight postgame show live from the 2007 All-Star Game continues on ESPN Radio after these messages from your local station.
This is the 2007 All-Star Game on ESPN Radio.
American League wins its 5th straight, 5-4 over the National League. Jody Ambrosio, John Rooney, Peter Pasquarelli down on the field. Happy to be joined by our friends, the Seagull family, who have shown up at AT&T Park since the game ended. John, you were in that National League dugout. Albert Pujols didn't come up in the 9th inning.
I was looking around to see who was putting on a batting helmet to come up to bat in the 9th inning, and Dimitri Young is the fellow who put on the helmet, grabbed a bat, and got the hit off the second baseman's glove. And that set the stage for Soriano's home run, and then the bases on balls. But I was told that Albert picked up his gear, his glove, his bat, and went back to the clubhouse and wasn't on the bench in the 9th inning.
Peter, from the American League dugout, obviously when you're controlling a series like this, things can be pretty loose.
Yeah, they were loose. You know, it was funny. During the game, Okajima comes up from the clubhouse, and he's carrying a softball in one hand and a small piece of wood in the other hand. And at least 10 American League players went up to him and asked what was the wood for. They knew the softball was to spread his fingers for his splitter. And he starts demonstrating this thing, which he puts the wood under his arm and stretches his shoulders somehow. And you had like 6 or 7 Major League stars shaking their head in wonderment at a piece of wood. That's how loose it is on the bench in there during the game.
And obviously, too, it gives the American League home field advantage. And as Jimmy Leland said to you after the game, some uniform is there in that clubhouse is going to get home field advantage in the World Series. He's obviously hoping it's his.
Well, you know, last year they had it and it didn't work for them, but I bet you'd like to have a second chance at that. And, you know, you look at the way the Tigers are, for example, you know, you fire out Kenny Rogers and Justin Verlander the first 2 games of the World Series at home. That could give you a pretty good leg up on a world title.
We'll get some final thoughts and say goodnight next. You're listening to the Baseball Tonight postgame show live from the 2007 All-Star Game, won by the American League 5-4 here on ESPN Radio.
This copyrighted broadcast is presented by authority of the Office of the Commissioner of Baseball and may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form. The accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without express written consent.
It's the Baseball Tonight postgame show. Jody Ambrosio, John Rooney, Peter Pasquarelli at AT&T Park in San Francisco after the American League's 5-4 win, their 5th in a row unbeaten in 11. The regular season resumes with 7 games on Thursday. John Rooney, one of the radio voices of the St. Louis Cardinals. What do you look for in the National League in the second half?
Well, it's going to be interesting in the East, I think, between Bobby Cox's team and Willie Randolph's team, the Braves and the Mets. And in the Central Division, Tony La Russa is hoping to get some healthy bodies back with David Eckstein and Chris Carpenter and Jim Edmonds among them, and perhaps Mulder at some point in the second half. But I see a pretty good race right there with the top 2 teams, with Milwaukee and with the Chicago Cubs. And maybe the Cardinals can have something to say about who wins that, if not try to sneak back in. And in the West, that's going to be interesting because there's Colorado at 500 right now, within a stone's throw of first place with 3 teams above them, and I think that's going to be a very nice run in the second half. And Arizona is a team that has managed to get past some hitting woes, but get hits at the right time, and they're going to make it interesting with Los Angeles and, of course, the first-place Padres.
And, Peter, if the playoffs started today, it would be the Red Sox, the Tigers, the Indians as the wild card, and the Angels. Do you think that's the way it ends up?
I think the Yankees really run down the Indians. I really think the Yankees going to have a good second half, and they may not catch the Red Sox because of the cushion there, but I think they're going to make it real interesting in the wild card. I just believe that Detroit's the best team in the league and that they're going to take over that Central in the second half. With Kenny Rogers back now, their rotation's finally in order. And if they get Joe Zumaya back and Fernando Rodney back, to me, they're the team to beat for the World Series. The West, the Angels should win it. They're allowing people to hang in the race, namely Seattle and Oakland. And, you know, if that happens, anything can happen because Seattle has that nice bullpen, and Oakland's pitching's been the best in the league so far. So the Angels don't have an easy road to the West either. The Red Sox will only take a collapse for them, I think, to give up the division right now. I mean, and the Tobin Bridge in Boston would be too crowded with people trying to jump off if that happens. So one would expect the Red Sox would hold on.
Gentlemen, as always, a pleasure. Thank you.
Thank you, Joe.
Great, Joe.
Thanks to Chuck Torres and Bernadette McDonald from Major League Baseball Broadcasting, Jay Alvis and Jay Horowitz, Major League Baseball Public Relations. The executive producer of Major League Baseball and the 78th All-Star Game on ESPN Radio, John Martin. Our producers, Ivan Sokolsky and Beth Faber. Technical directors, Al Rosenberg and Craig Davidson. Back in Bristol, producer Steve Haddad. Technical director Kevin Ingles. Production assistance by Mike Susi. Join us this Saturday and Sunday as the Cardinals go to Philadelphia to take on the Phillies. With a Baseball Tonight pregame show at 3:20 Eastern on Saturday, and then an earlier starting time than normal, 5:35 Eastern on Sunday, 6 o'clock on ESPN HD. Our final score, the American League 5, the National League 4. Now for Dan Schulman, Dave Campbell, John Rooney, Peter Pasquarelli, I'm Joe D'Ambrosio. Thanks for listening to the 2007 Major League Baseball All-Star Game on ESPN Radio.